There goes Davis. Oh my God! Davis is going to run it all the way
Here
back.
Here comes pressure. Bortles sees it coming. Looking for Wharton in the end zone. Wharton behind the defense. Oh! Are you kidding?
This is the ESPN Rivalry Series presented by Jiffy Lube.
For 365 days, it builds. The intensity, the passion, an emotional charge flowing through a state divided. It's a game that sparks visions of legendary names and images from its past.
The kick is in the air. It has lifted. It's good! Here's a good snap. It is blocked. It is blocked. It's caught on the run.
And takes the snap. He's got Hudson. Kirkwood. Touchdown Auburn! Touchdown Auburn!
The Tigers seek to repeat last year's magic. The tide is rolling towards the playoff. But first, they want revenge.
56-yarder. It's got, no, does not have the leg. And Chris Davis takes it to the back of the end zone. He'll run it out to the 10, 15, 20, 25. There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game.
Tonight, the latest chapter will unfold in the fiercest rivalry in college football. The one we've all been waiting for. Auburn, Alabama, the Iron Bowl. You are looking live at Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa, Alabama on an Iron Bowl Saturday night. For an entire year, this drama has been building. For Auburn, the memory of Kick 6 is the sweetest ever. For Alabama, the pain still lingers. All games matter to the Tide faithful, but this game matters most of all. You are watching the SEC on ESPN. The Auburn Tigers take the field in Tuscaloosa. Saban, after congratulating his seniors minutes ago, leads this Crimson Tide team out. They are already this evening champions of the SEC West as Ole Miss eliminated Mississippi State 31-17. But the Tide, they're stalking bigger game. This is the latest edition of the Iron Bowl. You need say nothing more. Good evening, everybody. We're Jesse Palmer. I'm Brent Musburger. We will hear from Maria Taylor down on the field shortly. Jesse, this is a very special rivalry, friend.
And Brent, I think it's the best rivalry in college football, not just because of the intensity, but because what's at stake. Each of the last 5 years, the winner of tonight's game has played for a national championship. Could be 6 in a row with Alabama #1. Now, tonight, Auburn kind of limps into this game. They've lost their last 2 conference games, but they would love nothing more than to ruin Alabama's season. Meanwhile, Alabama's been waiting 365 days for redemption. You talk to their fans, coaches, or players, they don't feel like Auburn won last year's Iron Bowl. Alabama feels like they lost it for a year. They've been reminded every day about the Kick 6. For a year, they've been waiting for tonight. Well, the wait is finally over. This is the Iron Bowl.
And for the last hour and a half, Maria Taylor has been down on the field watching the players. Maria, you saw a lot down there.
That's right, Brett. Key injuries on both sidelines. Duke Williams will be returning for the Auburn Tigers for the first time in 2 games. That's their leading receiver. Now he's wearing a very big knee brace on his right knee. He has a sprained MCL. Offensive coordinator Rhett Lashley says he's more concerned about his conditioning in this game because it's his first week of practice leading up to this week. TJ Yeldon for Alabama struggled with ankle injuries and foot injuries, but during warmups he looked really explosive, guys. And Amari Cooper, the leading receiver for the Alabama Crimson Tide, he has a bruised knee, no structural damage, but Nick Saban makes no bones about it. He has concerns coming into this game for his offense because of all of these key injuries to his players, guys.
And Maria, a game and a build-up the scalpers love. A year ago, Cooper, 99-yard touchdown pass from A.J. McCarron. Yeldon, 141 yards and a touchdown. Marshall bolting for a 45-yard touchdown. New heroes await your return. Welcome to ESPN College Football Prime Time, presented by Hampton Hotels.
ESPN College Football Primetime is brought to you by the U.S. Army. Some are driven by expectations, some defy them. Find your career at GoArmy.com/defy. Duluth Trading Fire Hose Pads, tougher than a Hail Mary hard. And Jiffy Lube. Leave worry behind and stop by Jiffy Lube today for a signature service oil change.
Auburn won the toss, and they want the football. The ball is on the tee for number 99, Adam Griffith. Sit back and enjoy, everybody. Out of bounds on his first kickoff. Jesse, an early mistake here by the Tide.
Very uncharacteristic, I think, from a Nick Saban coach team in Alabama. It looked like he was attempting potentially some sort of onside kick.
Free kick out of bounds. Kicking team, number 99. 5-yard penalty from the out of bounds spot. First down.
I don't know if he just mishit that or what, but it didn't look like anybody on the coverage unit was anticipating catching this. I'm looking outside. Got Cyrus Jones, number 5. He's not even looking for the football. A costly mistake early is going to give Auburn tremendous field position here on their first drive.
The ball is at the 44-yard line of Auburn. Rock Thomas, the freshman, opens as a running back. He motions out, and Marshall flares, and he drops. Was that a lateral? Alabama claims it was. Ragland jumps on the ball. The head linesman agrees.
It was really close, Brent. You go back and have to watch this play. It looks like Nick Marshall throws it from about his own 38, 39-yard line. From that angle there, it looks like it was going backwards. Rock Thomas drops the ball. Here's a great look at it here. He's kind of in between the 38 and 39. Yeah, and I'd say Rock Thomas made contact with that football around his own 38-yard line, implying that was a backwards pass. And Auburn returns the favor.
Yeldon. First carry for the Tide, and they pound away against the middle behind Ari Kwanjo, Brian Kelly, and Leon Brown.
And Blake Sims waited his turn, 5th-year senior, first season as a starter, and he's been fantastic this year, making plays with his arm and his legs. The thing that's impressed me the most, he's avoided the mistakes. Only 4 interceptions on the season.
That's Amari Cooper motioning out. Come right back with Yeldon. Huge hole. Out of bounds at the Tiger 15-yard line.
It's a really good job by this offensive line. Watch number 77, their left guard, Quanjo. He climbs into the second level and gets a block on linebacker Chris Frost, which helps clear an opening for T.J. Yeldon.
Sims, first pass, it's Cooper to the 10. Offensive coordinator Lane Kiffin calling the plays for Nick Saban. Second and 5. Fowler is number 45. Keep an eye on him all night. Here it comes. Crosses the 10-yard line.
You know, Brent, this is an area Auburn defensively has been mostly very good at all season long. They've bent, but they haven't always broken. And 51% of the time the opponent's gone inside their red zone, they've allowed touchdowns. That's really good. Key tonight against what can be an explosive Alabama offense, allow field goals, not touchdowns.
Checking the defensive call on the Auburn sideline. 3rd down and 3. Freshman wide receiver Cam Sims is number 7 on the field. Power with Yeldon. Touchdown, Alabama. After that misstep on the kickoff, Griffith being a little injured last week, here's Gunnar Rayborn to attempt the extra point. So a change with the special teams. Back spasms had sidelined Griffith a week ago against Western Carolina. T.J. Yeldon, who had a big game a year ago in Auburn, is back.
Welcome to the Dr. Pepper Championship Drive Game of the Week.
Less than 3 minutes in, Alabama strikes, taking advantage of an Auburn turnover. Gus Malzahn gambled with a freshman running back, and it backfired. On the other side, a new kickoff man, J.K. Scott from Denver, Colorado, from Mullen High School. Outstanding punter has been sent in for this kickoff. A knee by Corey Grant.
Going back to that touchdown, Brent, by Alabama, they do a great job just outflanking Auburn. They pull their left tackle and their left guard and get Jalston Fowler outside to try and create a wall, getting hats on hats. See, there's a slant inside by Gamel President, defensive end for Auburn, number 42, and it's just easy open field running for T.J. Yeldon. Big bodies that can move, getting outside, finding someone to block. That was an impressive opening drive for Alabama.
Corey Grant has replaced Thomas as the running back. And Marshall, looking downfield, now drops it off to Grant, and he's thrown for a loss. And that was Geno Smith, the nickelback. Jesse, let's take a look at tonight's Chick-fil-A impact.
Well, Auburn's the best running team in the SEC. They're going to try and get their running back, Cameron Artis-Payne, going. Trader Priest is the quarterback and the leader of Alabama's defense, and I think Landon Collins is the best defensive back in all of college football. Alabama will have to be physical. They must stop the run tonight.
Artis-Payne on the draw play. First down, Jesse, on cue. You said that Artis-Payne is the player they wanted to get involved.
No doubt about it. They do a little bit of misdirection here. They kind of make it look like Nick Marshall's going to roll out to his right. You see number 11, Brandon Folsom, the backside guard. They pull the other way. They hand off to Artis Payne in a big gap.
Here comes the hurry up. Payne again, and there's a penalty flag thrown by the umpire. This is one of the SEC's best crews. Hubert Owens is the referee. Russ Pulley is the umpire.
They might get center Reese Dismukes for holding.
Personal foul. Hands to the face. Number 86 on the defense. 15-yard penalty. First down.
That's Ashawn Robinson. And that's an early break, Jesse, for Auburn. They needed something good to happen here.
Well, it's very, very key for them in this game, Brent. They have success on first down. They have to be able to create positive yardage, make third downs manageable, stay on the field, sustain drives, and allow their tempo to be their ally.
A read option. He's going to throw deep off of it. Duke Williams back from an injury, and he couldn't catch up with it.
I'll tell you what, Duke Williams looked pretty good right there. We heard Maria say earlier in pregame warm-ups, I was watching him also, he looked good. He's wearing that big brace on his right leg. Lined up outside, kind of a double move post go. And he got on top of Eddie Jackson, the cornerback. The ball just barely overthrown by Nick Marshall.
2nd and 10 is Duke takes a breather. Here is Marshall. He burned Bama a year ago for a big run. Into the red zone.
More misdirection, fake handoff to Grant. Watch all these players from Alabama run this way when they see the motion come outside. It freezes them for just a second, and that created the crease for Nick Marshall.
28 yards. Here's Artis Payne bouncing outside, breaks a tackle, and he's to the 14-yard line. Second down and mass substitutions for Auburn. That allows the Tide to answer. Nick Saban loves defensive matching up. 2nd and 6. Artis Payne short of the first down, although that second effort made it very, very close. Trade to Priest with the snap for the Tide.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that mass substitution, Brent. I think one advantage Alabama has this year, they've got way more depth and way more versatility in their front seven than I think they've ever had under Nick Saban. They've got run stuffers, they've got pass rushers, and guys they can mix and match depending on the down and distance. Last year they got gassed. They have up 296 rushing yards. They feel like they're better equipped tonight to handle this tempo from Auburn.
Washington checks in as an extra defensive back on 3rd and 1. Artis Payne has the first down, and he barges to the 5-yard line where it'll be 1st and goal for the Tigers.
You see Auburn now, foot on the pedal, trying to go super fast now.
Come right back with Payne. He stopped after about a yard and a half, and it'll be 2nd down and goal.
And Alabama's defense, Brent, sees up-tempo offense a lot here in the SEC West against Mississippi State, Ole Miss. Remember, Alabama's own offense is now going no huddle 80 to 90% of the time. So they see it in practice. They're equipped to handle. They feel like they're conditioned to handle. You see another mass substitution for Alabama trying to match personnel with Auburn.
There's a whistle and a timeout by Gus Malzahn. He was coming down the field, and he burns a timeout, something he didn't like.
Auburn. Still first time out of the half.
ESPN College Football Primetime. is presented by Hampton Hotels. Feel the Hamptonality. And in part by Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy.
Alabama leads, but Auburn threatening, and an adjustment in the Auburn offensive line for this game is paying a dividend. Number 51, Patrick Miller, out of Dwyer High School in the Palm Beach area of Florida, is back at right tackle. That allowed the big Avery Young to move to left guard. They're getting a push against this defensive line. The center is Reese Demuke's number 50. Avery Young next to him on the left. Second down and goal. Up under center. Quick pitch back. But Bama red Artis Payne coming at him.
And on that play, they tried to fool Alabama. They lined up in an unbalanced formation. Their left tackle, Sean Coleman, 72, actually lined up at tight end on the right side. Wasn't a great exchange from the center to Smith as they were trying to pitch that football out wide, but you see the extra big bodies, again, trying to outflank Alabama. Alabama, though, did a great job themselves, just being physical at the point of attack.
Third down, goal, and Marshall, more comfortable in the gun, drops back. Rolling to the left, firing back of end zone, Williams incomplete. Here comes the field goal team for Auburn, and Malzahn not happy.
Now that's a throw and a catch that I think a healthy Duke Williams makes. I talk about his catch radius being the best in college football I've seen all year. He's been able to make acrobatic catches when he was healthy. You just wonder how much that knee potentially affecting him, wearing that knee brace on the right knee.
20-yard field goal attempt for Daniel Carlson, redshirt freshman from Colorado Springs, Colorado. Auburn's on the board. But Duke Williams in the back of the end zone needed a taller ladder. It's 7-3. What a great scene. An aerial coverage tonight provided by Goodyear, whether you're going for it from a few yards out or from miles away. Go with a tire with superior performance. Goodyear, more driven. Tuscaloosa, Alabama on a Saturday night. After the field goal, Auburn will kick it away. Daniel Carlson does everything for them. Just kicked the field goal. He'll also punt tonight. Interesting that we have two outstanding kickers from the state of Colorado in the Iron Bowl. High and short. And knocked out of bounds right about the 20-yard line, and that's where Blake Sims will put it in play. A reminder that the ACC Big Ten Challenge is back on ESPN. 7:30. Double threat or cream Christmas leads the Orange against the Wolverines, and the Buckeyes, one of the nation's most efficient teams, they'll take on the Cardinals. ACC Big Ten Challenge begins Tuesday, 7:30 at ESPN, the home court of college hoops. It's that time of year, isn't it, folks? Holidays closing in. Tyron Jones is the running back this time for Sims. Fowler, good receiver, motions out. He's also a fine lead blocker as he throws right there for Cooper. And Amari Cooper with Whitehead finally getting him out of bounds, but not before Cooper picked up a first down. Now I think I saw a penalty flag fly.
It's going to be a late hit, I think, out of bounds on that play. I think it'll be on the safety, Jermaine Whitehead. Kind of had a grab of his jersey and just never let go.
After the play was over, personal foul. Defense, number 35, late hit out of bounds. 15 yards from the end of the run. First down.
You know, Jesse, it seems to me that Gus Malzahn's team making too many errors here in the early going.
I mean, it's such a big game, and I think you always worry about the anxiety level of your players, and if they're a little bit uptight, and after the very first offensive play for Auburn where they fumbled the lateral to Rock Thomas, and now on defense, kind of not a very smart penalty. You know, you don't need to help Alabama out in any way when they're playing at home.
TJ Yeldon back on the field for Bama. It will be Fowler. And he battled for a couple of tough yards as another flag flies.
Well, I think Lane Kiffin, their offensive coordinator, watched the tape of Auburn struggling to stop Georgia from running the ball and Texas A&M running the ball in their last two conference games. It's been a run-heavy game plan early for the Crimson Tide.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 17, 15 yards to the end of the run. Automatic first down.
That's Chris Frost, and that's another Auburn mistake. Sims has thrown twice.
Now again, this defense in their last 5 conference games have given up at least 30 points in each of those. You do not need to help out an explosive Alabama offense with all these penalties. You just saw there, number 17 barely got fingers on that face mask, but it twisted a little bit, and because of that, he turned it. That's the correct call.
Ball is spotted at the Auburn 33. DeAndrew White, one of those 3 wide receivers stacked to the right. Now they're going to run the receiver Jones, and he is tackled for a loss by Jonathan Jones.
Jonathan Jones has emerged as the best cornerback for Auburn. Struggled a little bit earlier this season. He's made a lot of plays out in the open field one-on-one in coverage, but he's also very physical. Look at him out here, number 3 at the bottom of the screen. Jolson Fowler tries to get a block on him. He misses. Jonathan Jones only 5'10", 182 pounds, but he is a physical cornerback willing to support the run.
Makes it 2nd and 14 for the Tide. Cooper motions out. Sims, high leaping grab at the 18-yard line by O.J. Howard, a tight end.
O.J. Howard is a special athlete. At 6'6", 240 pounds, he runs like a wide receiver, and here he's just running a corner. I think Blake Sims did a great job holding the safety in the middle of the field with his eyes. That's an accurate throw and a great job going up and getting it by Alabama's tight end.
3 of 3. Here's his 4th throw, and he wants the end zone. Cooper got it. Touchdown, Bama.
Alabama right now hitting on all cylinders offensively, running it and throwing it. They went to a super tempo. Auburn wasn't ready for the snap. Jermaine Whitehead at safety number 35 was late getting over to help Jonathan Jones. If you were wondering whether Amari Cooper was 100% healthy after that quote-unquote bruised knee, well, now you know.
Rayborn again on the field. Freshman from Lafayette, Louisiana. And it is 14-3. 30 yards in penalties against Auburn. And one of the best receivers in all of college football. In fact, make him the favorite for the Biletnikoff this year. And make him a first-round draft choice come next spring. You'll see a lot of him come Sundays. (14-3), Bama with the lead. Now Lane Kiffin calling the plays down on the field. But I've had a theory all year, and it's come to fruition. Nick Saban wants him close by. Saban is the architect of whatever they do. That came after they scored the touchdown. He wants muscle ball. He does not want them throwing the ball time after time after time. Saban was also with his special teams coaches. This man coaches 24/7.
And he coaches his coaches just like he coaches his players, doesn't he? Very, very intense. He understands, obviously, the significance of this football game.
And let me add this, because I've talked to Lane Kiffin. He thinks he's a better coach having hung out with Saban. I want to say that about Lane. He appreciates what Saban has brought to his coaching. Let's go to Reese Davis in the studio for an update. Reese?
All right, Brent, time for SportsCenter right now, brought to you by Dell. And it was A Pyrrhic victory for Ohio State against Michigan. They won by 14, but J.T. Barrett's out for the season with a broken right ankle. He will have surgery on Sunday. Cardale Jones will lead them in the Big Ten championship game.
Back in Tuscaloosa. Jesse, your feeling about Auburn right now?
Well, I like the way they responded offensively. Obviously had the blunder on the very first snap, but they came back with a 12-play drive and got some points on the board. But the way Alabama's playing on offense right now, if you're Auburn offensively, you feel like you're going to have to go blow for blow with Alabama, and you got to continue having success.
Marshall keeps it and steps his way to a first down. Well, some of you Auburn fans, you may want to complain about a few things, or Auburn fans, you may want to praise a few things, but at any rate, over on the SEC Network, the voice of the SEC, Paul Feinbaum, is live right now. He's got a host of experts, and he'll take your phone calls, so have at it. Artis Payne to the 41-yard line.
We're seeing Nick Marshall have success running early, and that is key for the Auburn Tigers. Remember, historically, mobile quarterbacks have given Alabama problems. Tim Tebow, Cam Newton, Johnny Manziel, even Trevor Knight from Oklahoma in the Sugar Bowl last year. Last year, Nick Marshall was huge in this game, running the ball at 99 rushing yards. He was really good extending plays in the passing game. His legs have to continue to be big for this offense.
Second down and 8. Play action, Artis Payne going deep to Williams in the air with those great hands of his. And Auburn is suddenly at the 15. This man is healthy.
We talked about his catch radius. Nick Marshall knows if he just puts the football anywhere near number 1, he can go up with those long arms and bring it down. Eddie Jackson loses track of the football. The throw gets there before the safety can help. Phenomenal play by the JUCO transfer Duke Williams.
A 42-yard pass play. Now Artis Payne with the hammer to the 10-yard line.
Again, the tempo right now, playing fast, and this explosive play as you go back and see this catch. Phenomenal job. Auburn relying on the fact that the tempo is going to wear Alabama down.
Artis Payne close to a first down. You know, Jesse, look at Duke Williams. The thought occurred. He's saying, all right, Amari, whatever to him,
right.
Let's go.
No, you know, and that's what makes this kind of game great. The competition between so many of these players. You see Duke Williams, I don't think he wants to come off the field. This is an area in the field throughout the year. He's been a big help for Nick Marshall, that big body and these small windows in the red zone, but everyone's competing, and right now Auburn responding offensively to Alabama's success.
Artis Payne bangs toward that first down marker. Sharon Reed is in on that stop, number 90 for Bama. One of the things that Jesse Palmer's pointed out, they are really deep, Bama is, at that defensive line, much deeper. Gus Malzahn knows it, but he's having pretty good success up here behind Dismukes, Slade, and Young.
Look, Gus Malzahn wants to go fast. He's going to go for it now on 4th and short, and he wants his offense to pick it up and get this ball snapped.
Checking over to the side. Timeout. They burn another one. He looks over and he said, Saban, you rascal, you are ready for me. And right now, the tide is rolling. But Auburn knocking on the door. Back in Tuscaloosa. Auburn facing a 4th and 1. Gus Malzahn has decided to roll the dice. Alabama had some extra defenders out there. They make some changes quickly. Artis Payne, the running back. Again back up under center. This didn't work the last time. Marshall low right straight ahead this time, and he appears to have the first down. Right behind Dismukes, Avery Young, and Chad Slade.
It was a similar shift to what they showed earlier when they tried that quick toss play to the outside that didn't quite fool Alabama, trying to get them misaligned, but they got a good push up front on the quarterback sneak, able to convert this. And that was huge. A gamble pays off. You see here, they're kind of lined up, spread. All of a sudden, Nick Marshall runs up. They got everybody. It looks like they might try that quick toss play to the right again. A little change up by Gus Malzahn on this Auburn offense, and the gamble pays off.
3:24 left here in the first. They're going to bring the chains out.
Signal first down yet.
Looks like it's sitting right about at that line, so time is stopped while the chain crew comes out. Barely.
This is an area of the field where Nick Marshall's legs make this offense so dangerous.
Williams is at the top of your screen to the left. He's stacked on top. Marshall going for Duke. Duke in a foot race, incomplete.
They had him one-on-one with their nickel back in the slot, Geno Smith. That's a matchup Auburn would like to take. He's just kind of running that smash corner route. We talked about the windows being a lot smaller down here. He got outside position, throw again, just barely outside the outstretched hands. Aggressive play call on first down here tight.
Grant is the running back. Looks back toward Uzomah. Incomplete. And that was Eddie Jackson along with Nick Perry.
C.J. Uzomah has tremendous hands. 6'5", 265, and he's been a big weapon in the red zone. Had a big touchdown catch in this area of the field in this game last year. That time, Eddie Jackson just being more physical, getting his hand, knocking that ball away, now setting up the third down. And another big substitution for the Auburn Tigers offensively.
And Alabama immediately matches up. Artis Payne is back. Incomplete, and it's fourth down. Sammy Coates.
And that's a drop by Sammy Coates. That was a very good throw by Nick Marshall, putting it where only his receiver could make the play. He protects the throw, putting it outside. That's a catch Sammy Coates has to make. You see Gus Malzahn's reaction. Gambled for it on fourth down. They got it. 3 consecutive pass plays, 3 consecutive incompletions now force the field goal.
Stovall will hold for Carlson. This is a 24-yard attempt. Alabama is scoring touchdowns. Auburn is kicking field goals. Let's go to Reese Davis now in the studio for a Civil War update. Reese.
Brent, Taco Bell studio update does take us to the Civil War. Marcus Mariota, Heisman frontrunner, to the freshman Charles Nelson. They've been looking for ways to get him involved. Ducks tried that 2-point thing they do. Beavers stuffed it. 6-0 Oregon early on ABC.
All right, Reese, thank you very much. Gus Malzahn and the Tigers suffered a 2-game losing streak, which really set them back. Texas A&M went into Auburn, and then they were blown away by Georgia.
I think they were demotivated after losing to Texas A&M. They thought their playoff hopes were dead. They were flat against Georgia, losing 31-7. Getting up for this game, though, is not a problem. I think the problem for Auburn, they do look a little bit uptight. You had mentioned that earlier, Brent. We saw the very first play, a fumble giving Alabama the ball back. We saw some bad penalties on defense, and then a critical drop here down in the end zone by Sammy Coates. Auburn has to settle settle down and they have to relax. They should be the team that's loose because ultimately they're the ones that really don't have anything to lose. Alabama's the team #1 that needs this win to keep their college football playoff hopes alive.
Interesting you say that because Nick Saban emphasized this week to his coaching staff, let's keep the youngsters as loose as possible. And at practice on Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, he moved it up only 1 hour. They went through everything, but you could see that his players were loose. They were ready to go. There was absolutely no tightness demonstrated in practice. The coaches, I'm not so sure. That'll come out on the 25-yard line. Let's check in down below. Maria, can you hear yourself think tonight?
Barely, Brent. I can barely hear you and Jesse, but I did hear you guys talk about being tight and settling down, and that's exactly the message that the Auburn defense has for their team right now. Defensive line coach Rodney Gardner told his guys, you're shooting yourselves in the foot with penalties. You all need to settle down and communicate better. I also saw a couple of players talking about the fact, act like they've been here before and not play so tight, guys.
Thanks, Maria. We see that Derrick Henry, number 27, is checked in as the Bama running back. Yeldon, Jones, now Henry. Kenyon Drake, of course, is out with that broken leg. That's a big loss. And he gets his first carry of the game with Ladarius Owens making the stop. And, you know, as you take a look at this Auburn defense, Jesse, I want to point out that Devontae Lambert is not here. That is a big injury for that Auburn front.
Well, and they've already been struggling. As you can see in their last 5 SEC games, they've had issues keeping opposing offenses out of their own end zone and from generating big yardage. Now, Devontae Lambert was probably their most consistent defensive lineman. As defensive coordinator Ellis Johnson has had to mix and match, move people around all season long. They've been bit by the injury bug.
Sims fires. He's still perfect, folks. That's Cooper again. And Blake Sims has completed his first 5 passes for 65 yards and 1 touchdown. Who does he think he is? Greg McElroy?
Well, yeah, well, I'll tell you what, it's a good idea. He keeps going to Amari Cooper. He's the LeBron James of this offense for Lane Kiffin. They line him up all over, and he gets the looks. And you see now, with an early success, he's now the school record holder for career receptions at Alabama.
3rd down and 2. Pitch to Henry, and there is a penalty flag thrown on this play. Frost came up on the running back.
Auburn that time did a great job reading its keys, staying home, and playing their assignments versus the option. Chris Frost did a nice job scraping down the line of scrimmage to make that stop. That's an answer Auburn desperately needed on defense.
Illegal motion on the offense. Number 27 never got set. That penalty is refused. 4th down.
You know, Henry did not have a good game against Western Carolina. You and I were here, and there was a fumble that put them in jeopardy. I believe Western Carolina made a 14-10 at one point in that game.
Yeah, I think that they've been concerned with his lack of consistency really throughout the year. Remember, he had that huge Sugar Bowl game against Oklahoma last year, and I think the expectations for Henry were large this year, but you're right, Brent, struggling a little bit here in the last couple games.
Now, here is someone who can really flip field position. This is J.K. Scott. Quan Brea is back deep for Auburn. Outstanding return. And look at this punt. Folks, that shades a Ray Guy right there. Oh, mercy. Speaking of Ray Guy, get your NFL Sunday started on ESPN. 10 a.m. on ESPN. Sunday NFL Countdown. Presented by Snickers. Host Chris Berman and the gang, they'll have the latest news. I can't wait to see what Chris and the fellas have to say about New England, Green Bay. Can you imagine a better regular season game than New England, Green Bay? Could be a preview of the Super Bowl.
Well, and if you're a fan of quarterback play, you want to watch Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady. Those two guys right now playing at an unbelievable level.
That punt was 70 yards, tying J.K. Scott's career long. What a weapon. Marcus Payne now, the running back. Marshall banged and thrown back for a loss. Hit first by Reggie Ragland, who had an outstanding game a week ago.
Reggie Ragland does a great job just staying home. Here he is right here in the middle of the screen. He's just watching the football, keeping his eyes focused, not getting out of position. Delivers a little love tap to Nick Marshall.
Second down and 10. Corey Grant is the running back. Fake. Incomplete. Coates was working the middle of the field, but you could see Landon Collins from New Orleans, Louisiana. And Jess has already told you he thinks, in Jess's opinion, you rate him #1 amongst the DBs.
I just think he has the rare combination of speed and physicality for a safety. They've had some good ones here. Ha-Ha Clinton-Dix, Mark Barron were both first-round picks. Not either one was as complete as Landon Collins. Now, last year in this game, Brent, 3rd and long situations, Alabama blitzed Nick Marshall, and they had success. Wonder if they'll do it again here tonight.
Well, Georgia did not. They protected the edges, but they're coming. They've got Marshall in a foot race, and he still completes it, this time to Coates for the first down. That is a great throw, Jesse. You know how tough it is for any quarterback moving to the left.
No doubt. And Ryan Anderson and Trey DePriest come untouched up the middle of the field. There's the athleticism I talked about with Nick Marshall and why that gives them a chance against Alabama.
Artis Payne explodes. 47-yard line, and another Tiger first down. Last play of the first quarter. And again, it is red. Geno Smith, the nickelback, makes the stop on Artis Payne. Well, you know, there were some of these fellas we were wondering about how healthy they would be in this game for the Crimson Tiger. And the Tide answered with T.J. Yeldon scoring, and then Cooper's great catch in the end zone. Coach says, good job, guys. Let's keep it up. Well, that's Denny Chimes, and it was erected 1929 to honor the president, George H. Denny. And around the base is the Alabama Football Captain's Walk of Fame, and it bears hand and foot impressions of each captain from Crimson Tide teams dating back to the 1940s. As we welcome you back to the SEC on ESPN. Second down and 11. Corey Grant. The fake, Marshall fires, complete, and that's Williams. Williams will have to spark the comeback here. Now, they've missed him in the end zone a couple of times, but it looks like he's completely healthy after missing those games with that knee injury.
He's the comfort zone for Nick Marshall, Brent.
Well said, and they come back and run with Grant for the first down, and now they are stalking a 3rd touchdown, but the earlier 2 times they settled for field goals. And they're hurrying up. Throw it out wide, screening for Davis. Marcus Davis out of bounds, and that was Jackson again.
Now, Brent, Auburn needs a payoff in the red zone. They've run more than double the plays Alabama has. They already have almost 100 total yards more of offense, yet they've only come away with 6 points. When they've gotten in the red zone, they've been kicking field goals. These got to turn into touchdowns.
Artis Payne back on the field, 2nd and 3. Here's Artis Payne, and there's a penalty flag. Made it for the first down, and flag was thrown.
I don't think they had enough guys on the line of scrimmage. I think Sammy Coates might have not been lined up on the line. He's going to be 5 men in the backfield.
Illegal formation on the offense. 5 in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
It's the 2nd time they've had that penalty, Brent. You know, these mental errors, pre-snap penalties, you just can't have. We're in the 12th game of the regular season. And again, you talk about being dialed in. Biggest game of the year. Gus Malzahn can't believe it right now. Auburn just has to be able to get out of their own way. They haven't been able to do that so far tonight.
Second and 8. Won't get the first down.
This is a big down coming up, obviously. And again, we talked about Duke Williams being the comfort zone for Nick Marshall, whether he's lined up inside or outside all year long, on third down or in the red zone. When they've needed a play, Nick Marshall looks for number one. He knows if he puts it near his body, number one can come down with the catch. And the way Duke Williams has been looking, the speed he's shown, he looks healthy. I'd be thinking about him again right here in the slot.
Auburn 2 of 5 on third down. Davis is 80. It went right to him, Jesse, just like you said for the first down. They picked him up in the slot. He ran right out. That was a pretty good pitch and catch.
Yeah, he's too good. He's just too big of a target. And when you've got him running slants like that from the middle of the field, he can box people out and make the play you need. You got to give him credit. Again, he's not 100%, but he's giving it everything he can here. This is his first. This might be his only Iron Bowl. He plays
is the H-back, number 11. Artis Payne, there's another penalty flag.
Brent, I think they're going to get him for 5 in the backfield again.
Malzahn's going to go crazy. With those microphones, they can talk to each other on the field. They're not talking to anybody up here in the press box. They're talking to each other.
This will be the third time this has potentially happened.
Illegal formation. Offense. 5 in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
There was a shift in a motion by Melvin Ray, number 82 at wide receiver, but you're going to see right here, these are the only guys. There's 6 on the line of scrimmage for Auburn. There's the motion by Ray, but no one else gets up and established on the line of scrimmage. Another pre-snap penalty for Auburn. This just simply cannot happen at this juncture of the year.
As a result, it's 1st and 15. Here's Grant trying to get behind Fultz. And he is out of bounds at the 14-yard line.
You've got to be able to play with great eye discipline when you're playing against Gus Malzahn. He has a lot of misdirection and eye candy. They pull linemen. They've got receivers going in motion. They're faking handoffs. And if your eyes aren't in the right place, the ball will get run by your face or it'll get thrown over your head. So far tonight, I think Alabama's done a good job keying in on where the football has been.
Marshall checks over the side. Malzahn and Brett Lashley. Running back wants to make sure he's on the same page. Artis Payne trying to get that right edge. A little bit short of the first down, but he's out of bounds at the 5-yard line. So again, Jesse, that was Eddie Jackson over there getting him out of bounds.
See, Gus Malzahn wants his guys to go fast. These plays now are picking up. Already 34 plays run for the Auburn Tigers. That's a lot. How is this going to affect Alabama down the road?
3 of 6 on third down. Artis Payne thrown for a loss. That was jumped by Ryan Anderson. Another decision.
There's a player down for Alabama. Looks like Ryan Anderson, one of their best pass rushers at linebacker, number 7. This is going to give Gus Malzahn some time now to consider. Do you go for it or do you kick a field goal?
What would your father do, the old coach?
Dollar Bill, Bill Palmer?
Yeah.
Oh, he'd go for it. He was aggressive. He was aggressive. Well, he also knew he had a quarterback making plays in the backfield now. You know what I mean? Back in high school. Come on now. Take a look at this and see this again. Here you see Ryan Anderson. He's got Cameron Artis Payne kind of wrapped up, kind of falls to his back with Reggie Ragland falling on top of him. A little bit of friendly fire and kind of just laid there on the ground. He still hasn't gotten up. And you know, again, I've talked about the depth and the versatility Alabama has. The biggest difference, they have numerous pass rushers. And this Ryan Anderson, it's a good sign for Alabama. He's able to get up.
Sorry, Mr. Palmer, but Auburn is going to attempt a field goal.
Okay. Well, you know, that's why.
That was for your father, not
that's why.
you.
That's why Dollar Bill's not. Yeah, that's why he's not coaching college football. But you know, again, Brent, they've moved the ball very well, Auburn has. It's just they've been bad in the red zone. They haven't got the payoffs, and their defense just got a big 3 and out. They've been on the bench. They've been rested, so you take the points. It's still a one-possession game, but eventually, Brian, I don't think you're going to beat the #1 ranked team on the road kicking field goals all day. Some of these need to turn into touchdowns.
24-yard attempt for Daniel Carlson. Three of them. But like Jesse says, at some point, the Tigers will need 6. Alabama leads Auburn 14-9. And Maria Taylor, what have you got on Alabama quarterback Blake Sims?
Well, Brent, Sims was actually limping off to the sideline after the last offensive series. He was grabbing his Achilles. He spoke with the athletic trainers for a while, but I've been told by the Alabama support staff that he is fine and good to go. He did run back and forth trying to warm up a little bit while his defense was on the field, but it'll be something we'll continue to watch as the game goes on.
Yeah, indeed. Perfect throwing the ball here tonight.
Well, Brent, if you go back and their last play was that option play, remember, to Derrick Henry here, and just take a look at Blake Sims, number 6. He kind of just slips a little bit. You see that? Kind of falls down backwards, and you wonder if maybe that's where he injured himself. It's something we certainly have to keep an eye on. His versatility and his athleticism has been huge all year for Alabama.
Carlson kicks it away. Christian Jones is coming out. And short of the 25-yard line. And let's go to Reese for an update on the Civil War. Reese.
All right, Brett, Dr. Pepper conference update takes us to Corvallis, Oregon, and Oregon State. Marcus Mariota going to work. Royce Freeman juggled it momentarily and then followed his blocker in, and number 2 ranked Ducks up 16-0 on ABC.
And number 1 ranked Alabama is ahead of Auburn 14-9 on ESPN. Auburn drives have ended at the 3, the 7, and the 7-yard lines. 3 field goals after they crossed the 10-yard line. First down and 10 now for Bama. Sims in the pocket. Intercepted. Picked up by Whitehead. So who knows if that injury affected him, as Maria told you, that he was being tended to down below, and whether or not he could push off.
Blake Sims got greedy on this throw. He wanted Amari Cooper running the smash route, but he never watches number 35, the safety, right over here. He had Christian Jones wide open in the flat. He decided to try and push that football downfield. Jermaine Whitehead, who's had tremendous ball skills. He was suspended for 4 games throughout the season. Comes back and makes a big interception, giving Auburn the ball back deep in Alabama territory. And how about the job he does keeping his balance and getting more yards?
Kiffin looking for the quarterback to discuss what just happened. Corey Grant is the running back. Marshall keeps it behind Grant, and that is Nick Perry, the safety, forcing him out of bounds on that far sideline.
And a sudden change situation, Brent, for this Alabama defense. And again, they've played a lot of snaps. That's the 36th already in this game. And you see all of a sudden some different players. You might start seeing some hands on the hips here. It's a lot of snaps they're having to play, and Auburn has to be able to capitalize on this turnover.
Marshall. Touchdown, Auburn. Sammy Coates.
That time, Brent, they used Duke Williams as a decoy to hold the safety in the middle of the field. You see number 1 in the slot, runs the post. That puts Sammy Coates one-on-one outside. Eddie Jackson looked back at the quarterback. He lost sight of Sammy Coates. The ball got thrown over his head. We talked about the eye discipline you have to have. That was an example of what not to do against Auburn.
Obviously an infraction.
It's obviously looking like offsides.
Offside. Defense in the neutral zone. Half the distance to the goal. Still have to try.
But what an answer, Brent. After the interception, turning around and getting that score.
It's a little early to go for 2. But with that penalty, half the distance, if you want to try to put it early on a 3, you guys said, no, I don't want to chase right down, Brent. We're not going to do that. Let's.
Well, he's not Coach Palmer. You talked about that already. Was that kind of aggressive nature?
Meanwhile, Nick Saban.
They declined the penalty, Brent.
So they're going to go ahead and kick it. Which he did. So it's 16-14, and this is the move. Nick Marshall, 7 of 13 for 121 yards, and this touchdown to Sammy Coates. Game on in the Iron Bowl. Let's take a look at tonight's Good Hands play, brought to you by Allstate. Jesse,
couple
defense
of those,
and offense.
Defense first. Jermaine Whitehead doing a great job reading the eyes of Blake Sims, getting a huge turnover. Auburn gets the ball back, and then it's Sammy Coates. Remember, atoning for a drop touchdown earlier in the game in the first quarter here, getting behind Eddie Jackson. Nice job stabbing the football, getting both feet down. And all of a sudden, this game is completely changed. Jermaine Whitehead forcing the turnover, and Sammy Coates finding an explosive play in the passing game.
Uh-huh. 231 total yards for Auburn and 90 for Nick Saban's Alabama. Carlson booms this one. Coming out on the 25-yard line. Aerial coverage of the Iron Bowl provided by Goodyear. Whether you're going for it from a few yards out or from miles away, go with a tire with superior performance. Goodyear, more driven as you look down on the scene here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
And Brent, I think Auburn's defense starting to play a little confidence right now. Remember, they gave 2 touchdowns up early in the first 2 drives for Alabama. They had a 3-and-out 2 possessions ago. Just came up with the interception by Whitehead, and they're feeling it a little bit on defense.
Blake Sims was perfect until that interception. Yeldon to the 31-yard line on first down.
TJ Yeldon is a guy they need to get going. He is the complete back, can run inside, can run outside. He's good on third down because he catches the ball and he can block, and he's a good short yardage runner. But when he's moving and he's working well, this offense is working well.
Need 4 for a first down. Feed number 4. He got a lot more than that to the 45. And finally, he was brought down by Threezy, an outstanding player.
They had a phenomenal lead block by the fullback, number 45, Jalson Fowler, climbing into the second level.
Now it's
getting a block
Alabama.
on the linebacker. Yeah, and Bama now trying to pick up the tempo a little bit too as DeAndre White gets reset outside.
Yeldon. That's why he will be a high draft choice. Picked his way beautifully that time.
The footwork is so good, Brent, and they're always chopping. He just has tremendous balance, and because the feet are always firing, he's very, very hard to tackle. Just check this out. Keeps the shoulders square. Casanova McKenzie can't bring him down. Jonathan Ford, number 23, can't bring him down.
Deflected, incomplete. Going to bring up third down and 3. You mentioned Jonathan Jones out of Carlton, Georgia. He's a junior, number 3.
Well, that was a bad drop by DeAndre White. You know, he's a receiver who's been battling some injuries as well. Missed their last game because of a hamstring injury. He's coming off the field now. Big 3rd and 3. Blake Sims has been the best third down quarterback in college football this year, completing 70% of his throws. We've seen countless times scramble plays. This is where he's been most valuable to this offense.
Fowler is the lead blocker in the power I, and they throw out of the formation. Sims in trouble, can't get it off, and he is sacked by Anthony Swain.
And there was a big issue from the get-go on this snap. They had a wide receiver out wide, Raheem Falcons. He runs into his fullback, Jolston Fowler. You'll see right here. Watch Fowler outside. He runs into his receiver, and the whole play was doomed from the get-go. Blake Sims had nowhere to go with that ball.
J.K. Scott. And that was Bray, and he apparently signaled for the fair catch. You see the penalty flag coming down here on this play, so let's let the officials sort this one out. They're bringing it back to the 10-yard line.
Yeah, I think what happened.
Number 4 on the receiving team. 5-yard penalty from the end of the kick. First down.
I think he gave a signal. Yeah, he was kind of trying to wave people away.
And that stops it on a punt.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
as good as a fair catch.
Yep.
There was one of those penalties in the Iron Bowl a year ago in Auburn. Right there. That kills it. And that's a penalty.
ESPN College Football Primetime is brought to you by Ford. Beautiful things happen when you go further. And Dr. Pepper, always one of a kind.
Auburn leading Alabama 16-14 as we continue Dr. Pepper's championship drive game of the week here in the SEC. As you look down on this great scene in Tuscaloosa, the statues outside the stadium, Nick Saban and the great Bear Bryant. You still see plenty of those houndstooth hats. What a wonderful football coach he was. .814. 1st and 10 for Auburn. Here is Grant. Uzama with a great block. And Grant is out to the 24 for a first down before Geno Smith makes the stop.
Corey Grant is motivated in this game. But remember, he came out of high school and committed to Alabama. He then transferred out here to Auburn. Had a big game last year in this Iron Bowl. Running outside. He's got a lot of speed. He's a guy that wants to have a lot of success in tonight's game.
Marshall checks it down and drops it off to Ricardo Lewis, his first reception of the game. In the first half.
Oh. Yeah, they've been on their heels, Brent. And Auburn really has settled down since that first play. They fumbled the lateral. Their last 4 drives, 3 field goals and a touchdown. They've been marching up and down the field with balance.
Nick Perry showed pressure, and now he backs up too deep with Landon Collins. An errant play, and saving the day was Marcus Davis. The snap hit him in the hip.
And that's a heads-up play by Marcus Davis. Obviously, the timing not right on the snap. Very, very fortunate. That is what you call a fortuitous bounce. Watch number 80. The snap from Dismukes hits him right mid-stride in the hip and bounces and falls right in front of him. That could have bounced any number of ways. Alabama easily could have recovered that. Johnny on the spot actually gained yardage on the play, setting up 3rd and 3.
Marshall throws for the first down. That's Quan Bray with good speed. And he gets out near midfield.
He's a hard guy to tackle, Brent. He's a special teams demon. He's taken 2 punts back to the house this year. If you give him space, he can make you miss. He's lined up one-on-one with a linebacker. That's Reggie Ragland. So a nice job formating by Gus Malzahn.
21-yard gain, and Artis Payne is smacked. Nick Perry came up from his safety spot. Read that play perfectly.
Yeah, and I think Alabama deciding to be a little bit more aggressive. Their defensive coordinator, Kirby Smart, he doesn't want to sit back and catch these blocks. Auburn's been having success again on offense. They're not used to being on their heels like this, so dialing up a little bit more pressure off the edges, try and force Nick Marshall's hand.
Marshall is 9 of 15 for 147 yards and 1 touchdown. Throwing again. Couldn't get an open man on the move, and he'll hoof it out of bounds.
That's still such a big play by Nick Marshall, just to be able to avoid the sack, and that's the key. True freshman Rashaan Evans was in the backfield.
And Rashaan is a story. Verbal to Auburn. That was his hometown. But Reuben Foster had played high school football with him at Auburn, and he wanted to come and join his buddy. Rashaan Evans' upside is enormous. Foster, with a little bit of a neck problem, is over here on the sideline, but he too is going to be a very good linebacker. 3rd down and 12. Marshall again under pressure. Now fires deep. Jump ball incomplete. Marcus Davis was battling Landon Collins.
We saw earlier 3rd and long, Kirby Smart dialing up pressure. We talked about him now being more aggressive, trying to force Nick Marshall's hands. Here's Trey Priest, number 33. They run a bit of a stunt. DJ Pettaway gets loose, forces Marshall to scramble around. He kind of just heaves that ball up into double coverage. Very, very fortunate Landon Collins didn't pick this off.
The first Auburn punt of this game. Christian Jones is back deep.
I guess in retrospect, even had Collins intercepted that and fallen down, it would have been like a punt anyway, right?
Exactly. Fielded at the 14. Jones cuts back to the 42-yard line, and Carlson, the punter, forced to make the tackle. There's nothing kickers like better than making that tackle. He's a football player, folks.
Rich Davis with you in the studio. Marcus Mariota is going off. He's done it through the air. He's running. This was the end of a 67-yard touchdown drive. Oregon State's got 66 yards for the night. It's 29-0.
And Reese, as we take a look at these rankings this week, brought to you by Chick-fil-A, the Ducks will stay in 2, but Mississippi State will fall out of the playoff picture. This, of course, will send Alabama to the SEC championship game against Missouri. But just down below, both UCLA and Georgia, they'll topple out of the top 10. And Ohio State suffering another horrendous injury. And how will the committee evaluate that as Barrett goes down, lost for the season, and we come back to the Iron Bowl. Fowler and Henry checks back in. Play action Sims drops it off to Fowler with excellent hands, and the big fella makes his way down the field for a first down.
He's key to the game plan for Lane Kiffin, Brent. Big physical guy, 6'1", 250 pounds. He just mentioned great hands coming out of the backfield. He can also play tailback and carry the football. And I think for this offense right now in the big picture, they've had a punt, an interception, and a punt in their last 3 drives. They just got to be able to find their rhythm again. They got to be moving forward. They've had some miscues here recently. It's important now they regain some confidence.
Yeldon is back as Kiffin's running back. Motions out. Made sure that was a forward pass. First down, Bama. Number 45 is carrying the load right now. He's a senior from Mobile, Alabama. Went to Tiger High School.
Love the idea of getting the football into a playmaker's hands out in space. You had great blocking on the perimeter. DeAndrew White had a phenomenal block at wide receiver to give TJ Yeldon the edge. We talked about how this guy had to get more involved in the game plan. Doesn't have to necessarily just be conventionally running the ball. Good creative ways throwing it to him outside as well by Lane Kiffin.
First down and 10 for Bama. Just outside the Auburn 30-yard line. Amari Cooper is lined up in the backfield, and now they're going to send him out as a receiver. Sims dances. Sideline, and Jones. Christian Jones inside the 10-yard line, tiptoeing for the reception.
Auburn just lost track of Christian Jones on the sidelines. Let's see how he stays in bounds. Catches the football. Is that right toe touching the sideline? From this angle, yeah, it's kind of hard to tell. It's blurry. No, I think he's in. Got that toe in. It's a great catch.
They're coming right away, and Yeldon is with Sims. Rocky Good, the replay official, did not stop the play, so he's satisfied with what he's seen. And now there's a stoppage.
The ruling on the field was a completed pass for a first down. The previous play is under further review.
Alabama needed to snap the ball as soon as Sims came up.
No doubt about it. To try to avoid that replay.
There was a little bit of a delay.
Yeah.
Jesse, you go ahead.
Well, I mean, let's go back and take a look at this again. We talked about how Jones was right now. It's the right foot you're watching. You see right in there. That's what you're looking at. And where that toe is, it's in. I think right at this point, he has the ball in both hands. He has complete control of it. I think that right toe was still in bounds. Take another look. The foot's in bounds early, then he kind of taps it. It comes off the ground, but then goes back in. There's no juggle of the football. He maintained complete and continuous control. I think this call is going to stand. I think it's,
yeah, there's no question.
I think it's going to be confirmed.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to be confirmed, and I'm with you, Brent. You know, I think you'd like to see your fifth-year senior quarterback get up to the line of scrimmage and just have a play ready to go. A little bit of miscommunication looking over at the sidelines. Nonetheless, this won't hurt Alabama. I expect this to be confirmed. It'll be first down.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It is a completed catch for a first down.
Great work by our camera folks here tonight in giving the instant replay booth the definitive picture on the left side that you saw that toe down. And all season long, we appreciate the work of these fellas with the cameras and helping the guys up in the instant replay booth here in the SEC. Some of the best officials that I have seen in many a year. Yeldon. Sims checks back over to the sideline. Yeldon swings to the right. He's to the 5, and he's hit by Jonathan Jones.
You know, there was a false start that I think the refs missed on this play. I think O.J. Howard at tight end flinched. You saw a lot of Auburn defenders kind of pointing at him. They wanted a false start play, didn't get called. I think Alabama got away with one right there.
Second down and goal. Knocked away by Whitehead. He's the defensive back with the interception that set up the touchdown. And this is a great break on this forward pass.
He is making plays. Of course, he had the interception earlier in the game. And now he's lined up against the best receiver in the country in the slot, mano-a-mano. And he gets a tremendous break on the football. I think if he puts out two hands, he might have that interception. So now, Amari Cooper on a big third down. This is big for Alabama. Lane Kiffin very good at lining him up in different spots. He's going to face off against Jonathan Mincy right here at the bottom of the screen.
Looks right for him. And a great tackle by Ford. Stops Amari Cooper from reaching the end zone.
Alabama wants to go for it, and I think they are. They're bringing their nose tackle, it looks like. Brandon Ivory onto the field. You see big number 99 in here. Or sorry, that's 89. That's a tight end. Got excited. That's Brandon Green bringing in the beef. He was playing offensive line earlier this season. I like the gamble. I like this call by Nick Saban.
Jumbo. Yeldon, touchdown. Alabama regains the lead.
Tremendous answer by Alabama's offense. Talked about how they had to get back into a rhythm, had to kind of find themselves. Lane Kiffin's talking with his war horse right there, TJ Yeldon. Nice answer.
Gunnar Rayborn. He's replaced Adam Griffith after the opening kickoff of this game. Lane Kiffin dials up Yeldon's number.
I'm Reese Davis. The Buick halftime report is coming up. A costly victory for Ohio State as they lose J.T. Barrett. Yet another close call for Florida State. And we'll get you up to date from the Civil War, which has been decidedly uncivil for Oregon State. Lou's going to get rid of that cardigan swag. Mark will be here in a bit, too.
Get out of my way.
As we close out the first half here in Tuscaloosa, 1:23 remaining, 21-16.
And 1:23 remaining, Brent. That is an eternity of time for Auburn's offense with the tempo they play. But remember, they had to burn 2 timeouts earlier. Does that hurt them right now in this scenario?
Knee in the end zone by Bray. Well, Tuesday, the selection committee's latest rankings will be revealed, and you're certainly going to want to check this out. Top 25 rankings show Tuesday at 7 on ESPN at Watch ESPN, presented by AT&T. If Boise State can beat Utah State today, you would think that they would become the leader of the other 5 conferences, and the committee might point them in the direction of the Fiesta Bowl. But I'm getting ahead of myself. A lot of snaps. Look for TCU to move back up to number 4. Artis Payne is the running back. Marshall on a quarterback draw all the way. You know, you talked about Nick Marshall at the start of this game, Jesse. And I want to go back on that. You said he's the key player in all this, and he has been. He's thrown the ball better tonight than I've seen him throw in the last few weeks.
And he's looked very accurate when he's throwing it way downfield. They've had some big-time completions and explosive plays deep. But, you know, he's also done a really good job checking the football down when nothing's been there downfield.
He's an outstanding athlete. As you know, was once a defensive back at Georgia before he moved on to JC. Gus Malzahn recruited him. Came here, led the Tigers to the national championship game last year where they lost a dramatic game to the Florida State Seminoles. And here he is. Tonight, 9 of 16, 147 yards and a touchdown. He's also rushed for 48 yards. Going deep again. Got a man. Touchdown. Sammy Coates, his second of the night.
It was man-to-man coverage outside, Brent, with Eddie Jackson, who Sammy Coates beat earlier on a touchdown. And you saw the blazing speed. He ran right by the cornerback. And Brent, you just talked about it. We talked about the accuracy Nick Marshall has had tonight throwing the ball downtown. It's as good as I've seen in his career at Auburn. In this place, you could hear a pin drop.
Not so around Toomer's corner.
That's right. Toilet paper being tossed.
Early.
Early for it. A little early.
Here's Carlson. Auburn regains the lead quickly. Coming into this game, it's hard to believe. Coates had only 2 touchdown receptions on the year. Here tonight, on the biggest stage of all in the SEC, 2 touchdowns against Alabama. It's a very happy Auburn receiver on the sideline as the Iron Bowl starts to heat up in Tuscaloosa. Carlson whacks it away, and it'll come out on the 25-yard line. Well, Jesse, it's rivalry week.
Yeah.
None bigger than this, but I must say that Auburn bouncing back from those mistakes, this is impressive.
It's the greatest thing about rivalry week is that you can take all of the records and all the statistics and throw them out the window. Alabama's defense over the last 6 years has been the best defense in the SEC. They dominate people. Tonight, they're on their heels. They've given up 345 yards to Auburn, whether it's been running, whether it's been throwing. You got to give Auburn credit to your point, Brent. They've rebounded. They've gotten their head back in the game. When you watch their last 2 conference games, both losses against Texas A&M and Georgia, they just looked demotivated, but they came into this game with something to prove. They're playing lights out.
Cooper got the first down before Mincy takes him out of bounds. Can you imagine some of the Bama fans calling Paul Feinbaum at halftime?
Oh, yeah, no, he'll be a busy guy. He's been a busy guy all week.
Phyllis will be breathless.
No doubt about it.
You know, Cooper, we were here last week when he took that shot to the knee. He practiced this week. You can see the brace on the left knee right there. Sims, middle, his second interception of the game. This one picked off by Ford. They've got 38 seconds. They've got the ball across midfield. They have only 1 timeout remaining.
And this was just a miss by Blake Sims. He had DeAndrew White running the in route over the middle of the field. And Blake Sims just skied it. You're going to see number 2 coming from the left side of your screen into the middle. There he is. The window was there, but the high throw, it's an easy catch for Jonathan Ford. You know, Blake Sims' accuracy has been a little bit up and down throughout the course of the season. We've seen it up and down. Started the game 5 for 5. He's struggled since.
Let's see if they go deep after the turnover. Wildcat with Bray. And they're going to throw off the reverse. Marshall wants to go deep end zone. Trickeration. Caught. And that was Coates. It'll be 1st and goal with 28 seconds. Gus Malzahn promised us some trickeration tonight. And here it is. They line up Marshall to the outside, and they make sure he gets it back.
And what a great play call in a sudden change situation. You get the interception. Oftentimes, offensive play callers want to take a shot. They did it unconventionally, and Sammy Coates and Nick Marshall cannot be stopped right now.
Artis Payne, the Auburn running back. Payne stopped by the middle of that defensive front. Reed throws him back, number 90.
Yeah, Jaron Reed just dominated Their right guard, Chad Slade, off the line of scrimmage. Gus Malzahn has that timeout in his back pocket, so he's going to use it and discuss.
Here is that play call, Jesse, that you talked about.
Yeah, Quan Bray is the guy they like to use at times in the Wildcat formation. He's a receiver. Hands it off to Corey Grant, who oftentimes runs jet sweeps, but instead he pitches it back to Nick Marshall. And Landon Collins at safety could not locate, identify the football. He's never able to get off the ground. Sammy Coates made a great stab. Right now, how about Sammy Coates, by the way? A guy that was hurt early in the year, had a left knee injury, was playing through pain, was never really able to be full speed. He fought back and now making tons of plays tonight in the biggest game of his life. I think that Malzahn will be wise to kick it here. I do too, Brent. I think you need. You've got only 4 seconds. And you got to pay it off. Exactly. You've got an interception. If they stop you, get the ball back. Half's over. No, I'm with you. And remember, Alabama's going to get it first in the second half. So take the points here, make this pay off, go into halftime, feel good about a 5-point lead.
Tyler Stovall is the holder. This is a 20-yard attempt for Daniel Carlson. Timeout is called by Alabama with 3 in the pocket. Nick Saban wants to alert everybody just in case something's on here. But normally, if Auburn wants to try something on a field goal or an extra point, you'll see number 12 in as the holder. That's Jonathan Wallace. He's a quarterback. And right now, as all game, it has been Stovall who's been on the field. We have not seen Jonathan Wallace.
I think no matter what happens here, you know, Nick Saban's going to be having a talk with his defensive secondary. I can't remember the last time I've seen them give up this many explosive plays in the passing game in a half. Sammy Coates consistently is getting behind these corners, making plays over top of safeties. His coaching staff clocked him at sub 4.3 in the 40-yard dash, and he's showing that speed off here today. He had that drop early. He dropped the touchdown pass. Dion would have his hands full with this guy right now.
Forrest Hill is the long snapper. Perfect. 26-21. Auburn trailing early, rallies twice, and they lead Alabama by 5 here in the Iron Bowl. Let's go down to Maria with Coach Saban.
Coach, we saw 2 explosive passing plays from Auburn to close out the half. What did you see from your defense in the final 2 minutes?
Well, defense hasn't played very well. I mean, we've given up, 4 or 5 really big plays, getting the ball thrown over our head, not playing very smart, not keeping people cut off. And, we don't have a chance to win if we don't play better in the second half.
We also saw 2 interceptions from Sims in the first. What do you attribute those mistakes to?
Well, I can't tell you what I contribute him to. Obviously, nobody wants to throw an interception. Blake's a great competitor. He's doing the best he can. He overthrew the one, and, the guy wasn't even covered. The guy intercepted the other one. So he's just got to do a better job.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.
26-21. Auburn explodes for 20 of the 26 in the second quarter. Gus Malzahn's offense rolling. Sammy Coates is the leader. 4 catches, 153 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Let's go to Reese Davis in the studio. Reese.
This is the ESPN Rivalry Series presented by Jiffy Lube.
He's going to go. Touchdown, Alabama.
Wants the end zone. Cooper got it. Touchdown, Bama.
Touchdown. He is in. Touchdown behind the beat.
You're watching the SEC on ESPN. the Iron Bowl from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, with Gus Malzahn picking his spots, and his quarterback Nick Marshall having thrown for 255 yards and 2 touchdowns to wide receiver Sammy Coates. Meanwhile, Nick Saban is concerned with his defense. They've given up 383 yards, and Blake Sims, his quarterback, needs to settle down here in the second half. A couple of interceptions, but Jesse, as you pointed out, Alabama gets the ball here to start the second
and it's important they set the tone. Now, Nick Saban told our Maria Taylor right at the end of the half, they're not playing very well. They need to bring their A game here in the second half. And it's not just on defense, it's in all 3 phases. Remember, they kick the opening kick out of bounds. Blake Sims throws 2 picks. They've given up multiple explosive plays defensively. It starts right now on this drive, led by Blake Sims. You have to match the intensity level and the confidence with which Auburn is playing with right now. It has been unbelievable. You've got to give Auburn a lot of credit.
Well, let's check in now on the Expedia Built for Success explosive plays, Jesse.
This is where they found their success on offense, whether it was running the football, 2 runs already in this game of 15 yards or more, whether it's been running backs or Nick Marshall. And we talked about it. Nick Marshall is dialing in, going deep, and he's been looking for Sammy Coates on the outside against the cornerback Eddie Jackson. 3 big plays deep down the field, 2 for touchdowns. This was the biggest. Right after an interception, sudden change situation, a little triggeration down to Sammy Coates to help them tack on a field goal. Pretty good.
So in the first half, Auburn rushing for 128 and Alabama only 49. But the disparity is in total yards. And Auburn leading the way in time of possession. The 2 turnovers resulted in 10 points, by the way. Auburn drives ended at the 3, the 7, the 7, and the 3. That led to 4 field goals. And for the Crimson Tide, they are fortunate to have stopped those 4 drives and forced the Tigers to settle for field goals. Carlson will kick it away. Fielded at the 2 by Christian Jones. Alley on the right side. Out to the 38. And Maria, you spoke with Gus Malzahn. What do you have to say?
Well, Brent, you guys mentioned those explosive plays, and Coach Malzahn said that he decided to go with more aggressive play calling because he was sick and tired of kicking field goals. He also said he wanted to reward the defense for getting those interceptions. He wanted to find a way to get the ball into the end zone, and he wants to continue to put the pressure on Alabama's defense here in the second half.
Christian Jones with a 37-yard kickoff return, so it'll be first down at the 37 for Sims and the Tide. Yeldon starts the second half. Picks up a couple of tough yards, and that was Gabe Wright along with McKenzie.
And Gabe Wright's a key player for Auburn, Brent. You talked earlier about how Devontae Lambert, their most productive defensive end, was going to be out in this game. Gabe Wright is a big guy, 285 pounds, but he's playing double duty. He's playing defensive tackle, and he's playing defensive end, and he's a guy on tape that flashes, at times looks unblockable, hasn't always been the most consistent, most productive player. He's got to have a big second half here.
Ryan Kelly, the center. He's the ringleader of the offensive line. Picked off again. His 3rd interception. Jonathan Jones. And Jonathan saw that one coming from a mile away. And now Saban and the Bama staff, they've got a decision to make.
Well, Blake Sims wanted to go to Amari Cooper in the slot on a quick slant, but Joshua Hosley right here, he's going to take the throw away. And it forces Sims to kind of double clutch, and when he does that, he's too late throwing it outside to Christian Jones. We talked about how Jonathan Jones has emerged as the best cover guy for the Auburn Tigers. He shows you the instincts, and that's his 6th interception on the season. Now, last time Gus Malzahn was in this situation, getting an interception in Alabama's territory, he took a shot. He was aggressive. Let's see if he does it here again.
Coming into this game, Sims had only 4 interceptions. Tonight he has 3. Artis Payne. Marshall juggling the snap, keeps it, and makes his way to the 35-yard line. Geno Smith is there along with Robinson.
I really think it's important. You just mentioned A'Shawn Robinson. It's important the interior of the defensive line of Alabama plays lights out now in the second half. You go back and think about the defense that had success against Auburn, Florida State in the national title game, Kansas State earlier.
Jacob Coker
warming up. Yeah. Wow. Just wonder about the health of Blake Sims, or if they've just decided to make a change after he threw his third pick.
Second down and 6. Bray on the end around, sweeps for the first down to the 20-yard line.
Auburn had success in last year's Iron Bowl early running the football outside. You're going to see Quan Bray get the block. Look at number 11, Brandon Fultz, get a block on Reggie Ragland, clearing the way. Auburn tonight has had success up the middle. They've had success outside. A lot of balance on offense, and they've got Alabama on their heels.
Artis Payne, and he stopped at the line of scrimmage. Jonathan Allen, the first to hit him for the tie.
And I want to bring this up, Brent. When does the tempo start to affect Alabama? Because now they've already had 50 plays, and every time they get an interception, they've had 3. Auburn steals the possession, and this defense is playing a lot of snaps. They wore down in last year's Iron Bowl. They're going to wear down again here tonight. They're being challenged.
Marshall fires, complete, and he had slipped Artis Payne out of the backfield, and that is going to be a 1st and 10 at the 11-yard line.
And another great throw by Nick Marshall, protecting the throw. He back shoulders this. If he leads Cameron Artis Payne up the field, that's going to get picked off. Nick Marshall really has looked good. He's looked dialed in throwing the football.
He's 12 of 19 for 265 yards, and he has also run for 52 yards here tonight. Now it's the draw play. Artis Payne, and he's to the 7-yard line. It'll be 2nd down.
Looks like they're going to that quick huddle here again, Brent. They're going to try to break the huddle fast and get a fast snap and see if they can outflank Alabama.
Grant in motion. Marshall rolls right, complete, but well short of the first down. Ricardo Lewis was hit by Landon Collins. Number 26 read that beautifully.
And they did it again. They lined up with their left tackle, Sean Coleman, as a tight end in an unbalanced formation, but Alabama was lined up properly, and Landon Collins read the play. So Alabama was great in red zone defense early. They were forcing field goals after giving up an interception on their first drive in the second half. How big is this for Alabama now to play lights out on this 3rd down, try and force another?
Touchdown, Auburn. Quan Bray. 3 touchdown passes in this game for quarterback Nick Marshall.
Wow. And just what can you say about Auburn in all facets?
Carlson is on the field. They're stopped before the kick.
False start. Offense, number 98. 5-yard penalty. Repeat the try.
Nick Marshall has been dialed in, whether it's Sammy Coates, Duke Williams, Quan Bray, Cameron Artis Payne, whoever he's throwing it to. On offense, he's been accurate, made plays with his legs. Man, oh man, he's dialed in.
17 Auburn points off the 3 interceptions by Blake Sims. Jake Coker, the transfer from Florida State. Will we see? Because right now, the man with the hot hand is number 14 from Pine View, Georgia, Nick Marshall, on fire in the Iron Bowl. Welcome back to ESPN College Football Prime Time, presented by Hampton Hotels. Tuscaloosa and Jake Coker awaits. Blake Sims still with his helmet on. His last 2 passes, Sims' last 2 passes were intercepted in this game. Coker's buckling up. Now he unbuckles, and Sims was talking to Kiffin, we were told by Maria. And meanwhile, a different kickoff man, Kavickas, is going to kick this one off. And Christian Jones at the 25 as DirecTV takes you inside this drive now as we take a look at the last touchdown, Jesse.
You know, and Quan Bray made the touchdown, but C.J. Uzum at tight end make the play. He's right here at tight end. He's just going to run an in route, but I want you to watch when he gets to the top of this route. He rubs into 2 Alabama defenders right here, occupies them, and that allows Quan Bray to run underneath. It's essentially a pick, but it's legal. And Nick Marshall found the open Bray underneath.
So Alabama will stick with Sims right now. Yeldon's the running back. Yeldon bolts to the 41-yard line. Threezy with a stop after a 17-yard gain.
You need to help out Blake Sims' confidence. You've got to get him into a rhythm. So run the football. And I think that's been the area Alabama's been so dangerous at this year. It's the balance and the unpredictability, their ability to both throw and run. And I think getting T.J. Yeldon this running game going only is going to help Blake Sims.
First down and 10, and here comes Yeldon out to the 45, and Jonathan Ford. Now, following the last interception by Sims, and he's thrown 3, Nick Saban is over with Kiffin, telling him probably let's saddle up number 4 on this next drive. Meantime, Coker loosened up. Now Sims, and he hits Cooper at midfield, and Mincy making the stop. He's right at that first down mark.
And Brent, it's strange to see Blake Sims struggle tonight because he's playing at home. And for whatever reason this year, he's played his best football here at Bryant-Denny Stadium. He's completed 67% of his throws, 14 TDs, only 2 picks. But tonight, just not seeing the field as well. He's been aggressive. He's tried to force some throws. One got picked early by Whitehead. He missed DeAndrew White over the middle of the field and had a late throw in his last interception. This is not the stadium you expect Blake Sims to struggle in.
First down.
And I'm with you, Brent. The leash on Blake Sims now is very, very short. Nick Saban's on the sideline watching everything his 5th-year senior does. And in a game like this, as much as his defense is struggling, he'll pull the trigger. I mean, he'll put Coker in if he feels like this offense becomes inept because of the inaccuracy with bad decision-making at the quarterback position. And then Lane Kiffin's going to have to adjust.
Sims. The receiver slipped that time. That was White, the target. Let's check in down below with Maria.
Earlier, Jesse and Brent, I did see offensive coordinator Lane Kiffin tell Blake Sims to look to the sideline. He says, I'm whistling for you. Let me help you. Continue to check with me. He says it's easier to communicate with his quarterback at home, but it seems like they're struggling with that a little bit from the scenes of it down here on the sideline.
And the interesting thing, guys, we know Alabama 80 to 90% of the time is no huddle. They've been huddling a lot now. The tempo has slowed way down for them on offense.
2nd and 10, and here comes Yeldon, and he is stopped at the line of scrimmage by Angelo Blackson.
Just haven't been able to find that rhythm throughout the course of this game. So as Maria talks about, making sure they're in the right play every play. And here you go. 3rd and long. Blake Sims' legs have been very good for this offense and this team on 3rd and long. Lane Kiffin tells them, if your first read's not there, your second read's not there, take off and run. I think Blake Sims needs to use more of his legs here in the second half.
Derrick Henry is his running back. Sims will take off, just as you called it, Jess.
I think it's the right decision to get positive yardage. Now the decision for Nick Saban. You're in Auburn territory. You're trailing by 12. Defensively, you can't stop them. What do you do? And right now, he's leaving his offense on the field. 4th and 2. And I think, again, a run-pass option for Blake Sims is the best idea here.
You know, it looks more like 4th and 3 where that ball is started.
3, you're right.
Sims drops the flare to White. White going for the edge and the first down. Let's see where they spot it.
That is close.
It is very close. Lane Kiffin was trying to help him out. Ford was there defensively, and that's the first down signal from our referee, Hubert Owen.
Right tackle Austin Shepard did a phenomenal job pulling outside. He got a block on Robinson Therese. Right there, you see it at the tail end. That gave DeAndrew White the space he needed. He extends the football. Looks like it's right at the line. Looks like it's right before he steps out of bounds. By an inch.
Play action. Sims has time. Goes. Cooper's wide open. Touchdown, Alabama.
The gamble pays off for Nick Saban and Alabama. You leave Blake Sims in the game. You convert on a 4th and 3. You show confidence in your quarterback, and he responds and rewards you for that confidence. Tremendous job by Blake Sims.
Gunnar Rayborn. Missed it.
It was blocked.
That was Blackson who blocked it. Big number 98. Let's start off by looking at this 39-yard touchdown as Cooper breaks wide open, Jess.
Yeah, you know, he was never redirected outside by Jonathan Mincy. He got one-on-one with the safety, Jonathan Ford, and on a double move, spun him right around.
We come back. We'll take another look at that blocked extra point. Auburn up 6.
ESPN College Football Primetime is brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. And Jiffy Lube. Leave worry behind and stop by Jiffy Lube today for a signature service oil change.
As far as college football is concerned, this is Titletown. Now let's go back to this blocked extra point, Judge.
Yeah, Angelo Blackson, number 98, as you mentioned, just gets great push up the middle. And how about the vert for the big man? Just gets that right paw on the football. Keeps it from going through the uprights. And as a result, still 6-point game.
Special teams, where have we heard that before? The Iron Bowl.
It's one thing Alabama fans don't want to hear about. Been reminded all year long, every day, about what doomed them in last year's Iron Bowl.
J.K. Scott kicks it away. Ford comes out. Down the sideline. Well, this is Finding Success, brought to you by Expedia.
On that last touchdown, very poor pass defense by Auburn. Here's the corner, Jonathan Mincy. Press technique. He's got to get his hands on Amari Cooper and redirect him. He doesn't. That allows Cooper to get up onto the safety, a double move. in the back end. You see here, get your hands, jam them. You got to disrupt the timing. It is a mismatch with the safety, Jonathan Ford, against the best wide receiver in the country. Jonathan Ford saying, brother, you got to help me out. Need better pass D moving forward.
Artis Payne opens as the Auburn running back. Toss to him. And hit by Landon Collins.
That's a good open field tackle by Collins. That's something he hasn't been great at here in the second half of the season. When he's been one-on-one in space with ball carriers, the one knock on him, I think, he hasn't always been able to bring him down. That was a great job, because if he doesn't make that play, that could have been yet another explosive play offensively for Auburn.
Second and 8. Marshall keeps it, and Bama was ready. They cut the edge off with Petway. That is what Georgia had considerable success doing. Make sure that the edges are protected so Marshall cannot get outside.
And Petway just wins his one-on-one matchup outside with Patrick Miller. Watch him, just fights him off. Great run defense, starts with guys up front winning their one-on-one battles. Setting up 3rd and long now, Brent, and this place has erupted.
Marshall steps into the throw, double coverage, tug of war going down with Duke Williams. Duke Williams is hanging on right now.
Tie goes to the receiver.
Collins.
Tie goes to the receiver.
The umpire says indeed it goes to the receiver.
What a catch by Duke Williams. As he's down on the ground, we knew coming into the game not 100%. That was unbelievable fighting for that football.
And Duke shaken up in this battle. This was 3rd and 8.
Look at this throw. It's right between the linebacker, Trey DePriest, coming from underneath. Landon Collins over top. How does he hold on to that ball? You see, it's in his belly.
And he's on the ground, so that's a reception of 16 yards.
Right.
Just on
And
3rd and 8.
And both players have their hands on it, but the tie goes to the receiver. Watch this again. We talked about the catch rate. You see his legs kind of got caught back behind him. And remember, that right leg, that's the sprained MCL that he had coming in. Look at that right leg. It kind of bends, folds backwards. Oof. Holding your breath if you're an Auburn Tiger fan.
But he was able, you can see, though, he's gimpy as he goes off to that side. Bent like a pretzel on that reception. Wow. He's had an unbelievable night. 4 catches. 86 yards. Now it's 1st down and 10. This makes it a lot easier for the Bama secondary if Duke is not out there with Sammy Coates. Bray sweeps around.
Brent, it's a great point. This offense is complete when Duke Williams is on the field. When they can run the ball with their quarterbacks and running backs, Duke Williams is in the slot, Sammy Coates is outside. You've got your hands full. When Duke Williams is on the field, you can't double cover Sammy Coates. But now all of a sudden, with him out of the game, they become much easier to defend. And how is Alabama now going to make their adjustments? I think if you're Sammy Coates, number 18, you're going to start seeing more double teams. Auburn needs number 1 back on the field.
Second and 3. Artis Payne cut back, and he's short of the 1st down. It's 3rd down coming up. DePriest the first to hit him.
But it was Rashaan Evans, the true freshman linebacker, who lines up a defensive end that makes the play. You talked about sealing the edges. Look out here. Doesn't make the tackle, but he forced Cameron Artis Payne to go east-west, and the pursuit for Alabama came back to make the stop. Now another 3rd down. Alabama needs to get off the field.
Still no Williams, but we are told by Maria down below he has put his helmet back on. 3rd down and 2. Marshall goes deep, one-on-one coverage battle. Quan Bray is on the outside, battling for the ball, and it's a catch. The head linesman said the catch against Sylvie, working that far side. And what a catch this is by Quan Bray. We'll check it out. It's 35 yards.
Take a look at this again. One-on-one, Quan Bray with Brandon Sylvie. He jumps up over top. You know, he gets both feet down. I don't know if he had possession at the time he did. Auburn goes fast, though. They're not going to get a chance to replay it.
And Artis Payne, the running back. Crowd booing. They wanted a look before the next snap.
See, it looks to me like Sylvie, he's got it more in his control than Bray does. That's what just like it looks to me. I don't think he had complete continuous control at the time the feet were down.
Buzz for a replay on the
Okay, we're stopped before the snap.
The previous play was ruled a catch and a first down for Auburn.
Rocky
the previous play
Good
is under further review.
is upstairs, and Malzahn, of course, not happy. He thought they snapped the ball before it was stopped. Controversy erupting down here for the crew.
Let's go back and take a look at this again, Brent. See, Bray goes up over top of Sylvie. And at this point, I don't think he has control of it. Right foot down, but I don't think he has control of the ball. Now the left foot and knee hit out of bounds. When they come up from the pile, he has the football. Right foot down, but I just don't think he has possession. By the time he's out of bounds, I think it's too late. See right there, he's got it kind of in his wrist, but it's pressed against the cornerback from Alabama. Now the ruling on the field was this was a catch, so you need indisputable video evidence to overturn this. And I just don't think you have it looking at these angles. I don't think you can say for sure.
Meanwhile, the Alabama players, many of them have left their sideline and are looking up at the replay boards here. There are 4 of them which circle this stadium, and they have seen it. And they have pointed because they think that Sylvie should be given possession of this, or at the very least call this an incomplete pass.
You too. Yeah, and that's the second question, Brent. If Sylvie has possession of the football, his left foot does get down.
Yes, it does.
So take a look at this again. Who has the ball? Bounces off Sylvie's face. It looks like it's more in his possession. And it looked like his foot came down in bounds before they both jostled to the ground. That is really, really close. Now a tie goes to the receiver, but I don't know if it was necessarily a tie until they were both out of bounds. We saw a similar play with Duke Williams earlier in the drive on a big third down. And Gus Malzahn, he wanted to go fast, right? He wanted to get up to the line of scrimmage, snap the ball. He was upset that there was even a review in this, and both head coaches right now pleading their cases to different officials.
But the decision is being made upstairs by a longtime referee, Rocky Good.
You need indisputable video evidence to overturn the call, Brent, and I just don't know if you have it looking at those angles.
Remember, it was 3rd and 2. If it stands, it's a 35-yard gain to Quan Bray. The crowd, they will tell you what they think of the decision that's going to be announced.
After further review, the ruling is that there was joint possession by both players. Therefore, the ruling on the field stands. There was a catch by Auburn, first down.
It was really close. I don't know if I've ever seen one that close before. Nick Saban upset, yeah.
35-yard gain, Jesse, on 3rd and 2. Remember earlier, he had a 3rd and 8, 16-yard pass.
Yeah.
Saban.
And it was a tie. It was another similar pass play. The tie goes to the receiver type scenario. Nonetheless, Nick Marshall right now continues to be accurate, throwing it downfield regardless who it is.
Jesse, you put your finger on it. There's not enough to overturn that play. You mentioned the word indisputable, and it was not there. Now they're conferring out on the field. The line judge is out with Hubert. So it's first down and 10 now for Auburn. They're knocking on the red zone door again. Artis Payne to the edge, and he is out of bounds on that far side.
And nonetheless, it's impressive. Remember, Duke Williams not on the field for Auburn and making it, apparently more defendable. What I loved about that last pass play, Brent, Sammy Coates was double covered, and Nick Marshall knew to go away and find the single coverage. That's where Quan Bray was. Nick Marshall is so dialed in right now. He is winning the quarterback duel with Blake Sims.
They jumped that draw play, and that'll be third down for Auburn and DePriest and Tomlinson.
Yeah, we talked about having to be good in the interior of the defensive line. Well, DePriest blitzed from the outside, but Tomlinson won on the interior. Now third and medium, and Duke Williams back on the field for Auburn. Going to gut it out. This is, again, Nick Marshall's go-to guy in these scenarios all season long. You can't say enough about his toughness.
End zone wide open, and Duke couldn't hang on. It was a little bit to his left. In fairness to Duke, this was not a perfectly thrown ball, but he was wide open, and Gus Malzahn knows it.
And it was a coverage bust because Geno Smith, who was covering on number 24, he falls and slips. Did you see that? It left Duke Williams wide open, and I've said it again, Brent, he never drops passes like this.
He's going to have
catch rate, he sure does, and I know he's not 100%. I think he would tell you himself. That's the second drop touchdown pass on the game now for Auburn, and Nick Marshall can't believe it.
So Carlson is back. He's kicked 4 field goals. This would be his 5th. "33-yarder is good. So the young man from Colorado Springs, Colorado, Daniel Carlson, a redshirt freshman, has kicked 5 field goals in this Iron Bowl. Now, watch the emotions over there on the Auburn sideline.
It's the Iron Bowl, man. Stuff happens.
And we ain't finished, partner.
Welcome to the Dr. Pepper Championship Drive Game of the Week.
Well, there's your national championship trophy, which will be awarded down at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas on January 12th. It is presented by Dr. Pepper. Number 4 has already fallen by the wayside. TCU, you would expect to bounce up. But what happens if number 1 drops out? The Crimson Tide. Everyone in the SEC would have 2 defeats if Auburn can hang on. Does that mean that we can possibly have a playoff without an SEC team? Think about that as the rest of this game continues. They'll come out on the 25-yard line, and let's go to the studio and Reese Davis. Reese.
All right, Brent, Sports Center right now brought to you by Dell. Ohio State lost quarterback J.T. Barrett in the victory against Michigan today. Suffered a right broken ankle. He is scheduled to have surgery on Sunday. Cardale Jones will take over for the Buckeyes as they head to the Big Ten championship game.
You know, Reese, really, for all of us, just simply sadness about what's happened, Jesse, with Ohio State. They've lost 2 outstanding quarterbacks this year.
Yeah, they sure have, and it's interesting to see how that plays moving forward in the Big Ten title game. Does that type of injury, does that eliminate them potentially from the playoff possibility?
Sims going to go deep, wants Cooper. Cooper's got it! Touchdown, Alabama!
This is an incredible ball game. 2 heavyweight fighters trading blows.
Cooper in an Iron Bowl. 9 catches now for 180 yards and 3 touchdowns. That one, 78 yards. And Bama pulls back to within 2. Now the quarterback Sims, who has come back after his 3rd interception. Let's see how he feels about this one. Celebrating his 10th year, sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, Allstate makes contributions to participating university general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kick. Since 2005, Allstate has contributed more than $3.7 million in scholarship funds. Auburn, 36. Alabama, 34. The Iron Bowl moves to prime time. J.K. Scott to kick it away. At the 1, Corey Grant. And number 20 is thrown down just shy of the 20.
There's nobody better in the country than Lane Kiffin at using formations to get his playmakers isolated. Here's Amari Cooper now in the slot. He's going to press up the field to the corner and then go deep. And it put him one-on-one with Jonathan Mincy trailing, and he could never catch up to make the play. It's a great double move. He's got way too much speed. Gets in behind the defense, and Blake Sims, that had thrown 3 picks earlier, his last 2 possessions now.
From the Goodyear blimp now, you take a look at that move that Jesse told you about. First down and 10, ball at the 19-yard line. Gray moves out to the right. Artis Payne in a foot race. Got to the 22-yard line before he is down on first down.
Setting the edge, and Alabama with its speed, being able to run down and make plays. Xavier Dixon, 47 that time, getting outside. They've got to limit the yardage Auburn's getting on first down and set up more 3rd and longs.
Pockets clean. Duke Williams with a great grab.
Anywhere near him, and he normally comes down with it. We saw him just drop a touchdown pass. I don't think this was I think this is probably a more difficult catch. It's unbelievable.
Davis in motion. Artis Payne out of bounds at the 37. Dixon.
Let's go back and watch Duke Williams again on this catch. He's matched up with Geno Smith in the slot. This is the matchup Nick Marshall wants. He's just going to come over the middle of the field. It's a great route. Look at that, stabbing the football. This guy has a very long, very successful future playing on Sundays, because you cannot teach that.
Second and 8. Marshall reading the sign on the right side. Gus Malzahn ready to go here on this 2nd and 8. And the flare is batted away by Petway. Petway's made a couple of big plays here in the second half.
He sure has. And this was a good decision by Marshall. Nothing open downfield, checking the football down, and heads up by Petway. Up here, he knows he's not going to get to the quarterback. He reads him, puts the hands up. I don't think that was a backwards lateral, Brent. I think that was an incomplete pass, but here's the 3rd and long Alabama needed. Now, we've seen them blitz Nick Marshall in these situations. Do they stay aggressive? They're showing it right now.
They're showing gap pressure. Then they back off rush 4. Marshall, though, in a foot race. On the move, right side, up for grabs, intercepted at the 45 by Perry, Nick Perry. And Alabama will have a first down in Auburn territory.
And Nick Marshall committed the cardinal sin of quarterbacking, throwing the football back across his body into traffic. Pressure up front forced him to move outside. He's looking for number 4. You see Quan Bray. He's going to break this route in. Looks like he's open. But watch all the crimson jerseys converge, and it's Nick Perry at safety. You cannot throw back across your body into traffic. Alabama has the ball back deep in Auburn territory, down by 2.
Fowler and Yeldon are your backs along with Sims. Banging right straight ahead against the middle. Adams, Montravius Adams. And of course, last week, I should say, Amari Cooper was shaken up. And look at what he has accomplished here tonight.
Brent, he's LeBron. He gets all the shots. And Lane Kiffin lines them up in different spots to make sure he gets isolated.
2nd down and 8. LeBron's got another one. I mean, Amari. He's out of bounds.
Hey, he's playing to the left. He's playing to the right. He's in the slot again. Lane Kiffin has explosive playmakers at his disposal. He's putting on a clinic right now. Whatever he's got on that call sheet, it's working pretty good when they're dialing up number 9.
Sims has been outstanding following that 3rd interception. Final minute of the 3rd quarter. Again, it's Cooper on the move to the 8-yard line. Whitehead hanging on.
And that was a confident throw by Blake Sims, because this looked triple covered from the get-go. There were 3 white jerseys around Amari Cooper before he broke, but that's the confidence level Blake Sims has, and what we think will be the Blitnikoff Award winner this year.
And he may be a finalist for the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Here he is, the bottom of the screen now. He can't be stopped, and he's lined up mano-a-mano.
And Minchie said, send somebody to help me. First down and goal.
Ooh,
they were going.
They were going to throw the fade to him.
Yes, they were.
I think Auburn may have gotten lucky here. Alabama players were signaling like it was offsides against Auburn. Of course, Auburn pointing back at them.
False start. Offense, number 72. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
It's Leon Brown, the right guard. We're going to go back right. Look up. He's up top here. 72. You can see his helmet. A little flinch. Kind of gets started right before. It's a good call. Very lucky, because I like Amari Cooper's chances if that fade had gotten thrown on Jonathan Mincy.
So it'll be 1st and goal, but the ball is backed up to the 13 for Nick Saban's Tide as we come to the end of the 3rd quarter. They will switch ends. A total of 70 points. What else would you expect? This is the Iron Bowl. 3 points in the 3rd quarter as both teams exchanged fire. Alabama outscoring Auburn 13-10 in that quarter, but they still trail by 2. We have had 2 lead changes. Amari Cooper, the all-time single game record for receiving in the Iron Bowl. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. You are looking live at Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, It's a game we've waited a year for, and it has more than lived up to expectations. We start the money quarter. Alabama on a drive with a 1st and goal. Sims will step it out of bounds at about the 11-yard line.
He can do more of that, Brent. I love the idea by Sims. The fact that he's decisive when nothing's open downfield, you take off now. They don't like to run him a lot on zone read type plays, but in a game like this, close as it is, you need all of your weapons firing, and Amari Cooper and TJ Yeldon are going. Again, I just think Blake Sims, he's been really good throwing it recently. The legs come up big down here in the red zone. Got Amari Cooper right here in the slot.
Sims looking back at number 9, and now he's going to take off. Slips into the end zone. Touchdown, Alabama. Our 4th lead change of this game.
The red zone is a great place to run. If you're a quarterback, oftentimes defenders have their eyes focused on receivers. Auburn just brings 4. They're not able to contain him. This is what I'm talking about. He has such great escapability, as good as anybody you find in the country. And that has to be a weapon for Alabama. It's been all season long. It needs to be here in the 4th quarter. As you see, Cam Robinson, your starting left tackle, obviously slow to get up.
And Jesse, he was actually injured when you and I were here last week.
Yeah.
And he did practice well this week. On Thursday, he had a full practice.
We talk about guys that are kind of banged up. He was playing extremely well, had a high ankle sprain against Tennessee, and kind of re-aggravated that injury in our game last weekend against Western Carolina. Also, we talked a lot about Amari Cooper and Duke Williams not being 100%. How about this true freshman? He's the #1 offensive tackle prospect coming out of high school, playing at a phenomenally high level. He's been playing very, very tough here in the second half of the season. Go back and take a look at this again. Here he is right here at the bottom of the screen. He's working against Brandon King. He kind of chips off outside on the stunt on Gabe Wright, and just it's kind of hard to see where that injury may have occurred.
Going to go for 2 right now. TJ Yeldon. Cooper goes in motion. And it's caught for the 2-point conversion. That was DeAndrew White who made that catch. And Bama's lead is 6.
Blake Sims is now in the zone because he put that football where only his wide receiver could make the catch. It's an in-breaking route, small window. You got to put it low to the ground. You see that the front tip of the football is pointing down. Does he catch the ball? Let's take a look. Looks like he got it in the body. The ball's allowed to touch the ground so long as he has complete control of the football. Take a look from here. I think that's a catch.
Alabama, 3 touchdowns on their last 3 possessions. It came after Blake Sims had thrown his 3rd interception. Now, number 6 on fire. Under that Boone, 78 points scored, the highest scoring game in Iron Bowl history. J.K. Scott, kick it away. Fielded at the 4. That's Grant. Grant slips up at the 26. Monday, you will not see 78-point score. Ryan Tannehill will lead the Dolphins into the Meadowlands for an AFC East matchup against the fading New York Jets. Geno Smith back as quarterback. Meanwhile, Mark Sanchez, revitalized under Chip Kelly, leads the Eagles to a huge Thanksgiving Day win over the Dallas Cowboys. Ryan Tannehill, Texas A&M lad. First down and 10. Artis Payne. Marshall looking downfield. Incomplete. And that was great coverage that time by Sylvie. Jesse, I have no clue what Scott Matthews, our producer, is up to with the Aflac tribute. I don't. How many New York Jets starting quarterbacks attended either Alabama or Auburn? Well, one of them is right next door to me, Joe Namath.
Yep.
Okay? He was here.
Greg McElroy is another.
Indeed.
He started for the New York Jets, so that's two.
Richard Todd.
We got three right now. There's Broadway Joe.
There's Joe.
By the way, he won the first Iron Bowl ever televised on television. Do you know that? Look at him. Look at. I guarantee both of you guys have stories from the saloon.
Oh man, we got stories. Second down and 10. Nick Marshall and the Tigers need something good to happen here. Bray on that end around. Artis Payne with a great block over there on Landon Collins. Man, what a block that was. Landon was upended.
But again, good run defense happens all over the field. It's not just up in the front seven. It's people in the secondary willing to come down and make a stop. So here we go again. Third and long situation. We saw Nick Marshall in trouble, threw an interception ill-advised on the last big third down. Alabama showed pressure and backed off. The cat and mouse game continues.
On third down, Marshall not going to get close. Taken down at the 22-yard line. Two things have happened in this game.
We talked about the versatility. They have pass rushers now, and they've got a lot of them. 47, Xavier Dixon off the outside. You got Reggie Ragland at linebacker coming in the backfield. Jonathan Allen, number 93. They are deep. This is a different-looking front seven than Nick Saban has ever had at Alabama.
Christian Jones is back deep for Carlson's punt. From the 23, and he should say it about the 26, actually. Gave up a little bit of ground there as he was out of bounds. Brandon King with good coverage for the Auburn Tigers. Record-breaking total here tonight.
You've got the lead. If you're going to ice this game, your best players have to touch the football. So I would expect a constant dose of number 9, Cooper, and number 4, TJ Yeldon, if I were Auburn defensively.
Now you can see that Robinson is still missing in action, and here is Yeldon midfield, and he runs to the 39-yard line.
Get a great job. They get a pull from their left guard, Quanjo. Look at 77 right here. Get outside. He's going to try and help him get the edge. TJ Yeldon just beat him to it. You know, Brent, we talked about the balance they have on offense. That's a reason why they're on pace to set a school record for total offense in a season. They're averaging 485 yards a game. It's because they can do everything well.
They've got 400 already here tonight. Sims going deep, incomplete. And again, Cooper was the target. Cooper with 3 touchdowns already and an Iron Bowl record 209 yards with 12 receptions.
All these defensive backs now are staring at each other and they're thinking to themselves, oh no, if number 9 lines up on him. And Lane Kiffin that time lined up Cooper in the slot to the left. We've seen him all over the field. Look at that, 210 receiving yards tonight. The most in this historic rivalry.
You know who's thinking about it? Coach Steck at Mizzou. Missouri.
Yeah, those corners are too.
The SEC championship game in Atlanta next week. They'll play the winner, Yeldon, and he is stopped. And by the way, Jesse, congratulations to Mizzou. A couple things now. This is the second consecutive year that they have won the East. I know the East is down, certainly in comparison to the SEC West. They were beaten up by the ACC today, I think 4 games to none. But Mizzou, I'm going to tell you something else. If you haven't watched them, they've got an underrated defense, and they're an opportunistic offense. It's going to be a game worth checking into. 3rd down and 11. Play action. Sims. Wide open is Cooper. The crowd chanting, "Coop, Coop." They better enjoy it, because this will be the last game he'll saddle up in Tuscaloosa.
Running the football helps play action. It freezes the linebackers in the second level and allows Amari Cooper to get over the middle of the field wide open. On a critical 3rd down, we've talked about how good Blake Sims has been all season long. He's been lights out here in the second half. You cannot say it enough. He had thrown 3 interceptions. He was that far away from being benched. I believe that. But he responded. The coaches left him in the game. He's played his best football.
Yeldon again. Caught the left edge. And that is going to be marked, looks like, back there at about the 16-yard line, and that'll bring up a 2nd down.
Lane Kiffin, if a play works once, he's going to dial it up again. He pulled Quanjo, his guard, again to get a block on Frost. Let's see if he stepped out of bounds. Yeah, right there. It's the left foot right there. Good call. But right now, Lane Kiffin, whatever he's dialing up, running and throwing, it's working. And this guy right here, 77, Quanjo, he's been the bell cow on this drive.
Yeldon angles for the first and more. And there is a penalty flag thrown. Yeldon crossed the 5-yard line, but there is a penalty flag.
Holding. Offense, number 70. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay 2nd down.
That's the center, and somewhat unusual. He's the key to this offensive line, folks. He's an outstanding young man from Westchester, Ohio. His brother plays for the United States Naval Academy. They were a winner over South Alabama. His parents driving to Mobile first and then coming in here. And, of course, they would like to forget that their son was just announced.
For holding.
Yes.
A lot of cloth on Gabriel. But you're right, Brent. He got hurt against Ole Miss. He was out against Arkansas. When he was out, they did not run the football the same. He means everything to this offensive line, getting them lined up, communicating, and being physical.
Henry, you can see number 27 is checked in as a running back. Sims moves the pocket to the right, fires on the run, and he's got White. He is out of bounds, and he is short of the 1st down. So this will be 3rd down and short. You know, there are 2 things. First of all, Nick Saban has to make that tough decision over there after that 3rd interception. Am I going to stick with Blake, or am I going to go Coker? He decided. He told Kiffin after conferring, we're sticking. Number 2, he told Maria at halftime his defense had to buckle it up a little bit. They've played much better here in the second half.
We talked about them needing to play their A game in the second half, not just on defense in all 3 facets, and we've seen that, Brent.
3rd down and 1. And Cooper is in the backfield. And they give it to Fowler. And he crushes the middle of that defense to the 7. Ford, the safety, suddenly makes the stop. If you're an NFL scout, I've said this before, circle number 45 Fowler. If he's there in the 3rd round, grab him. He can play Sunday football. He can be a lead blocker. He's a good runner. He's got great hands. He's been well coached. You guys take it from there. I
don't know if I would stop giving it to him right here in this area of the field. He's tailor-made for it. This is a situation, Brent, as Joe Namath looks on. This could, if Alabama scores a touchdown after just retaking the lead, all the explosive plays they've had in the second half, this could be demoralizing for Auburn.
Yeldon picks his daylight to the 6-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and goal.
Clock ticking. Talk about Alabama now being an up-tempo, no-huddle offense. They're very content to get in the huddle, bleed this clock.
You know, that was a very, very big 2-point conversion for Alabama, because if they kick a field goal right now, they turn this 6 into a 9 and a 2-possession game. That was huge on Saban's part. And now just milk this clock. Take time before it's snapped. Try to get it down. Try to limit the possessions that the man across the field can have.
Roll out.
Touchdown White. DeAndrew White, the senior from Houston, Texas, on senior day, scores a touchdown, and the Tide rolling.
That's the score Alabama needed. And I'm very curious to see how Auburn is now going to respond to this. Let's take a look at the back of the end zone. It's a great job on a scramble drill by DeAndrew White, working for his quarterback to get open. And what can you say about Blake Sims in the second half?
Going for 2 again.
Maria told us earlier, Lane Kiffin told Blake Sims, hey, I'm going to be whistling at you, looking at you, look over at me for the right play. Huge 2-point conversion now, making sure they get the perfect play called for this scenario.
That would put them on the 14. Still 8 minutes to go for Auburn. Rolling to the right in a foot race. Sims is down. It'll stay on the 12 at the 8-minute mark, and Sims was shaken up a little bit earlier, and it appears that he is injured himself a little bit on that run when he went down.
Yeah, and it looked like he had the edge. I think if he was able to stay on his feet, he might have been able to convert that 2-point conversion. That's good news for Alabama. Sims showing some toughness getting up.
Blake Sims has had some kind of night. 20 of 27. For 312 yards, 4 touchdowns, but 3 interceptions. And now Tide fans can hold their breath. We'll get a report on Sims. He has Alabama in control right now. Alabama leads Auburn 48-36, 4th quarter of the Iron Bowl, as we continue Dr. Pepper's championship drive game of the week. Bama fans know one thing about that Auburn team over there. Can't get overconfident. You remember what happened to Coach Saban and the Tide a year ago. But it is a 12-point lead right now. Scott kicks it away. High but short. Bray comes up on it. Now to the 31-yard line. Well, the ACC Big Ten Challenge back on ESPN, and Iowa will take on North Carolina. That's Wednesday at 7:30. And then, if you haven't seen him, I'm told that Jalil Okafor of the Duke Blue Devils is somebody you're going to want to watch. The best youngster to come along in college basketball for the Blue Devils. They play a very good Wisconsin team. Folks, that's an outstanding Wednesday doubleheader. Here we go now, 7:58. Artist Payne. Play action Marshall. Going to come deep downfield. And Coates has got it at the 15-yard line. He had 2 first-half touchdowns. Geno Smith, and they're not out of bullets yet.
Alabama has struggled at cornerback, whether it was Eddie Jackson, Bradley Sylvie, now Geno Smith giving up a deep one again. I was just going to say before that snap, when is Auburn going to take another shot deep down the field as good as Marshall's been pitching it?
Flares it to the outside, and Davis. And wrestled down by Collins.
Brent, I really thought coming into tonight, Alabama's total defense was the best in the country because they had marked improvement at cornerback in the second half of the season. Cyrus Jones developed into their best cover corner. Eddie Jackson was back from an ACL injury. They had mostly been shutting people down. Tonight, they've given up 6 pass plays of 30 or more yards. They'd only given up 8 all season long.
2nd and 9. Marshall. Coates juggles. Knocked away and out of bounds. Sylvie, who came in and replaced Jones over there.
Yeah, Sylvie's come in, and he took over for Eddie Jackson after he got burned by Coates in the first half. You'll see here it's the fade throw. He gets it tipped, and it looks right there like Sammy Coates had caught it. Just a hot potato. Nobody wanted the football. It's a great job by Sylvie battling.
Watch Washington. Watch 23 come into your picture now. He went up and got a hand on that football. Here it is, 3rd down and 9 for Marshall. Fires that fade. Williams is being held up over there, but they say it's not catchable. The official on that far side says there's no penalty here because it was not catchable.
And Brent, they haven't tried Cyrus Jones, number 5. Watch how physical he is with Duke Williams up top. Now there's definitely contact when the ball's in the air, but this is a guy I told you, he's emerged. Russ Malzahn wants the pass interference call. Here we go. 4th down. Duke Williams right there.
Fires in underneath. Alabama football. Nick Perry, the defender.
On that last play, Brent, Nick Marshall wanted to hit Sammy Coates on a post over the middle of the field. Take a look at this play again as you see Marcus Davis. He stretches the football out. I think he's already out of bounds. I think it was a good spot by the referees and a great job by Kirby Smart and Alabama's defense.
Saban closing in on a revenge win. So already Mississippi State has fallen out of that playoff picture. But if Alabama wins, you would expect the first 3, Alabama, Oregon, and Florida State, to stand pat as we welcome you back to ESPN College Football Prime Time, presented by Hampton Hotels. Blake Sims, after throwing his 3rd interception of this game, has been magnificent. Yeldon brought down by Ford. Yeldon with a 126-yard night. And we remind you that our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, whether you're going for it from a few yards out or from miles away, go with a tire with superior performance. Goodyear, more driven.
And Brent, Alabama's a little undermanned right now on the offensive line. Their starting left tackle, Cam Robinson, left the game. They moved Austin Shepard, number 79, from right tackle to left tackle. And now their backup, Grant Hill, number 64, is in, playing on the right side.
So it'll be 2nd down and 3 behind that offensive line. Yeldon. And here comes a huge 3rd down. Ford again, who's been very active in that secondary. Jonathan Ford's a sophomore from Big Cove, Alabama.
How big would it be for Alabama here to convert this? They've retaken the lead. They've scored touchdowns on their last 4 drives, Brent. They're milking the clock.
How big would this be for Auburn to stop them?
No doubt about it.
Trying to stay alive here.
And this is a big front from Auburn defensively. They've been very poor in rushing the passer this season, but they've got big bodies. They've got a bow up right here in what appears to be a running situation.
Sims is going to keep it for the first down and then some. Trying to slide awkwardly, went down at about the 27-yard line, and he's been nicked up a little bit here tonight.
It's something Alabama doesn't do often, Brent. They don't run Blake Sims on designed quarterback runs, which would seem odd considering how good of an athlete he is. But they just feel like throughout the course of the season they can run it conventionally. They've got good running backs. They don't want to get him hurt. That was a really good play call by Lane Kiffin on 3rd down, emptying the backfield, setting up the draw.
Henry will be Sims' running back. The hand to Henry, and Henry breaks free. 40, 45, crosses midfield, still going to the 25-yard line with Mincy making the stop on Henry.
It was a great job of vision on a zone stretch play, cutting the football back across the field. Watch this line push off. There's a lane back going the other way. He sees it. He puts his foot in the ground, gets in the open field. And guys, this is a 6'3", 241-pound back that has tremendous speed in the open field. And that completely flips the field, putting Alabama on the doorstep again.
49 yards. 516 yards for Bama, 565 for Auburn. Bama with a 2-touchdown lead, and Henry is stood up by President. The chief of staff said, "Nowhere, young man." The President brought him down.
Well, you're down 12 points, Brent. So when do you start using your timeouts if you're Auburn? You've got 3 to use. And Alabama's showing you that they're not going to go fast. They're going to milk this thing as long as they can. It's already a 2-possession game right now. I think if your Gus Mal's on, you got to start thinking about burning these. Blake Sims, hands on his hips. He's going to let this play clock go all the way down to 1.
Here's Henry, swinging wide, breaks free, end zone. That could be the dagger.
Unstoppable on their last 5 drives. 5 touchdowns. Remember, the score was 33-21 Auburn early in the 3rd quarter following a Sims interception. Alabama responded with 5 straight touchdown drives. Wow.
Rayburn knocks down the extra point. Alabama already headed to Atlanta for the SEC championship game against Missouri next week. But they're stocking bigger game. This team wants nothing short.
Pulling guys outside, getting Jalston Fowler on the perimeter, and allowing Derrick Henry to follow it. Talked about Shepard got put in a new position at left tackle when Ken Robinson went down. Jalston Fowler's had a monster game, Brent. Catching the football, running the football, and blocking. We talked about the depth they have on offense. TJ Yeldon's had a phenomenal game, and now Derrick Henry, who's struggled a little bit the last couple of weeks with consistency. A monster drive for number 27, and another reason why this offense is the most explosive it's ever been in Alabama history. Think about that.
Missouri is doing just that.
Yes, they are. They're about to have their hands full. Rhett Lashley, the offensive coordinator for Auburn, talking with Nick Marshall about the plan. Obviously down 19 points, all 3 timeouts, but they're going to have to be aggressive. The good news for Auburn, they've had success throwing the football deep when they've isolated these cornerbacks one-on-one. Duke Williams and Sammy Coates, Quan Bray, they've all made plays at wide receiver. but the sense of urgency has got to go through the roof now if they're the Auburn Tigers. You're leaving it all out on the line.
J.K. Scott kicks it away. Grant to the 35-yard line. Let's go down below now to Maria Taylor. Maria.
Brent, you know, I'm down here with a little piece of history. The kick six ball that Auburn won with last season in the Iron Bowl actually made the trip to Tuscaloosa. Now, there was a time when they weren't sure exactly where this ball was, but a student manager had picked it up and returned it back to the equipment manager on Monday. Athletics director Jay Jacobs did call and see if Alabama wanted the ball back. They said that Auburn could hold on to it. They're going to have a place to display it, and of course, Alabama right now trying to erase the memory of this ball, and it seems like they're doing a pretty good job of that so far, guys.
Yeah, exactly, Maria. By the way, there's a security guard keeping a close eye on you down there now. Here we go now. First down and 10. Auburn under the gun. Marshall pump fake and then drops it off to Artis Payne over there to the Reggie Ragland making the stop. This is a career-high passing night for Nick Marshall. He's now thrown for over 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. But as far as Auburn is concerned, there's a big goose egg up there in the fourth quarter. Marshall in trouble. And the depth of this defensive front started to wear the Auburn offense down. Jonathan Allen was in there. Jonathan came through, and he's just one of the great big fellas. Jesse, when you watch Alabama in practice, and you go down with the defensive line. Now, I'm not saying they're as good as an NFL defensive line. Obviously, they're not yet. But they're deeper. There's more fellas can play.
Recruiting.
Yeah.
Nick Saban's the best in the business. His last 7 classes have been top 3 classes or better. He's working on his 4th top class in the country in a row this year. Best players in the country, because you win national championships, you send guys to the league.
Marshall in trouble again, looking for somebody. Fires it deep to Williams. Battle incomplete. Nick Perry was one of those back there. Monday Night Football, the Dolphins and the Jets, 8:15 Eastern Time. And if you're a Jet fan, you're wondering who's going to be our coach next year. 4th down.
And if you're Auburn, you're looking, thinking Duke Williams in the slot down here. If you're Alabama, build a fence around Nick Marshall. Keep him in the pocket.
Forced out on the move. And fires, and coming back, that was Quan Bray who made the catch. Keep the drive alive. 2 minutes to go here.
They just lost contain. They had the true freshman linebacker, Rashaan Evans, rushing off the edge. He did not get upfield. That allowed Nick Marshall to get outside, make the play.
Flipping it outside to Davis. Davis gets to the 45-yard line before DePriest.
How about Trey DePriest? The guy that, starting his 37th game, played a lot of football. He's the quarterback of this defense. He's physical. He gets the guys lined up. They lost C.J. Mosley last year. He was their leader. Trey DePriest has done an unbelievable job this season.
2nd and 5. And complete for a first down to the 34. And that was Duke Williams who made that grab. And Landon Collins right there on the big fella. First down and 10. Now Marshall, he'll just take it out of bounds, stop the clock right about the 30-yard line. The clock is down to 1:25.
It's been an unbelievable game, hasn't it?
Amazing.
Just incredible. We talked about the highest scoring game in Iron Bowl history, but a game with ebbs and flows and Anxiety early, both teams kind of settling down. We've seen both quarterbacks play at an extremely high level. It's been a real treat, real fun to be part of.
Second down and 7. That is Grant on that throwback. He'll be short of the first down. He's kept inbounds.
Timeout if you're Auburn. Tackled inbounds. Wow, and Auburn just going to let it run. Just conceding defeat here. All 3 timeouts left. I don't know. Just in an Iron Bowl, crazy things have happened in the past. I'm not so sure why you're not using your timeouts and just seeing what happens.
This will kill it momentarily with this first down. Grant to the 14-yard line. 48 seconds. And finally, Alabama fans will not be watching Kick 6 every week of the year. Firing to Duke Williams, who is jarred. Got a first down, so it'll be first down and goal.
What can you say about Duke Williams tonight? Playing in his first Iron Bowl. Look how beat up he is. I mean, he was not 100% because of the sprained MCL on his right knee. He's got that huge brace. This guy has been laying out for tough catches, putting his body on the line.
Well, a reminder to get your NFL Sunday started on ESPN at 10 a.m. It's Sunday NFL Countdown presented by Snickers. So Chris Berman and the gang, they'll have all the late-breaking news. What a huge game in Green Bay. New England and Green Bay. Wow, late tomorrow afternoon, but right here, Jesse, we were wrapping up a classic in the SEC. This is one of those games that folks will remember forever, especially on the Alabama side. Last year, the Auburn folks will never forget what happened down there.
That's what makes the rivalries great.
Yeah.
I think the interesting thing now for Alabama, having a playoff mentality, and it really started today. Understanding if you're going to win a national championship, you got to win out. You can't lose, and you're going to face 4 top 15 teams all in a row. And it started tonight with Auburn. It's going to be next week in the SEC title game against a very good Missouri team with a very good defense. And that's going to be a very good matchup to watch in Atlanta.
Now Marshall on the roll, throws it away. And, you know, you got a little hesitate when you say throw it away, and you got these 2 big receivers down there in the end zone, and Malzahn and Lashley, they're still battling away, trying to get themselves another touchdown. And Marshall's career high, 456 yards. He's thrown it 42 times already. 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. Sims threw it for 312 yards, 4 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. The ebbs and flows of a great college football game. It's now 3rd and goal.
You can't say enough about the way Nick Marshall competed. But again, this offense so different with Duke Williams, his comfort zone back on the field. It showed in Nick Marshall's play. You know, he ran the football very well tonight as well. He scrambled. We talked about how mobile quarterbacks have given Alabama issues over the years. Of course, Nick Marshall got the win last year. He gave Alabama all they could handle tonight. He's had a tremendous career at Auburn. You've seen the red zone efficiency for Auburn. It's been night and day different than that of Alabama's.
Corey Grant dives for the end zone and an Auburn touchdown.
And just a great sign. I think if you're Auburn, continuing to fight all the way through. Corey Grant, who once played for the Crimson Tide, this game we knew was very meaningful for him. Great move here late on Geno Smith, diving the football across the plane. Tell you what, I got to be honest. I did not come into this game with you tonight, Brent, expecting to see that many points. If you told me there were 97, potentially 98 points going to be scored in this, I would have told you you were nuts.
Not the first time you would have told me.
You know.
The Iron Bowl records that were broken tonight, and there were a ton of offensive marks that have broken here. The most combined points we've talked to, but how about the most combined total yards? And There you have Alabama putting up 55, tying the most points they've ever scored. And what can you say about Amari Cooper? My partner Jesse Palmer has raved about him all season long.
Send him to New York City. I know Marcus Mariota and Melvin Gordon, those guys have kind of been 1-2 the last couple of weeks. They're playing lights out, but this guy is on a different level.
I'm chuckling because I thought you were saying New York Jets.
Yeah, well, they would like him too. I think there's a lot of teams on Sundays, there might be 32 of them, that would like number 9 falling to them in some order in the draft. And I guarantee you won't be very long. This guy's not going to be on the board past the 10th pick. I can guarantee you that. But no, I'm talking about the Heisman. I'm talking about, that trophy. Mark Ingram in Alabama won it just a few years ago.
Going for 2 and running out with the play was Ricardo Lewis to talk to Duke, and they're going to stack it over here. Marshall on the move, going to run for it, going to pick it up that way.
I meant 99 points. It is not often a Nick Saban defense gives up 44. Cannot say enough about Gus Malzahn's game plan, Duke Williams' toughness, the way Nick Marshall has played. They put on a clinic. Unfortunately, Alabama's offense was just better.
There's Rhett Lashley. Someday he'll be a head coach. College football, outstanding young assistant. 55-44. It's an 11-point advantage with 20 seconds to go. No quit in War Eagle.
Craziness we've seen, obviously, in last year's Iron Bowl on special teams. Nothing's out of the realm of the impossible. Gus Malzahn is still coaching his tail off over there. Down 11, 20 seconds to play. Onside kick coming. We know special teams has played a big factor in these games in the past, especially in recent history.
Done a terrific job since taking over as the head coach at Auburn. Of course, when they won the national championship, Gene Chizik was the head coach, and Gus was his offensive coordinator, and Cam Newton was the quarterback. And here's Nick Saban, won the 4 national championships during the BCS era, 1 at LSU, 3 here, and again in recent history, if it means anything, Alabama is favored to go all the way to the championship game. They'll stay number 1. Oregon will stay 2. Florida State 3. And then the committee must decide who sits at number 4. TCU has a very good shot. Baylor has the argument that they beat him head up. We shall see. There's the onside kick. Scramble for it, and there's penalty flags flying. Fowler, number 45, who's done a little bit of everything.
I think that got touched by Auburn before it traveled 10 yards. I think that's why you see the flags on the field. Those are never fun for anybody on the receiving team. You see Jelson Fowler slow getting up. What a game he's had, huh?
Oh, amazing. Every time you watch him on tape, your eyes just go right to him because of how much of the offense he leads.
Illegal blocking by the kicking team prior to the ball traveling 10 yards. That penalty is 5 yards added to the spot of recovery. First down.
You're not allowed to block anybody downfield before this travels 10. Take a look at these 2 players in front of the kicker. And I actually thought the football even touched one of them at that point. It's a good call.
For an entire year, Alabama and its fans have suffered because of a kick 6. In 18 seconds, that memory has been erased. Alabama wins the highest scoring Iron Bowl in history. the SEC championship game where they will take on Missouri next Saturday afternoon. Blake Sims up saluting the Alabama fans. We're going to come back, but right now, let's send you to Sports Center. Kevin Connors and John Buchagras.
All right, Brent, thanks so much. You know, one of these days, the Iron Bowl is going to live up to expectations. What a game. Welcome inside. Kevin Connors, John Buchagras, still digesting the 3 or 4 different football games we just saw. We're going to be joined by Brad Nessler and Todd Blackledge on the call of Oregon State to figure how that one comes out coming up.
I'm just excited to hear Brent Musburger say my name.
Yeah.
Danny Cannell will give us his top 4 in seconds. But first, back out to Brent Musburger.
Thanks, guys. And Maria Taylor down below with Coach Nick Saban. Maria?
Coach, your quarterback had 3 interceptions, but you showed confidence in him. You stuck with him. What did he show you in this game in the second half?
Well, you know, the guy's been a great competitor for us all year, but, you know, you got to give our entire team a lot of credit for the way they competed in the second half. We probably played the worst half of football we played all season long in the first half and came back and did a great job in the second half. So I'm really proud of all of our players, and Blake did a fantastic job as well. It's great for the state of Alabama and our fans to win this game, and we're happy for all of them.
How do you explain the way that your team was able to bounce back from what you say was the worst half of football you guys have played?
Well, there's no really explanation. I mean, we were a better team than what we played in the first half. So, you know, we didn't play very well on defense, but gave up some big plays, but our guys really competed hard and played a lot better, and we won because of it.
Well, next up, you're headed to the SEC championship. So what does it mean for your guys to fight through adversity and win a game like this before playing in a title game?
Well, you know, I don't really know what it means. I just know that you got to take them one game at a time. We got to get our guys back to doing some things better, and we'll learn a lot from this game today, and hopefully, you know, we'll play better next time.
Amari Cooper, over 200 yards receiving yet again. What can you say about your star receiver?
Well, you know, he's done a great job all year. He made a lot of big plays when we needed him in the second half and had a fantastic season, but he had a fantastic day today.
Overall, the regular season's over. How would you describe the identity of this football team?
Well, I'm proud of the way this team competes. You know, we haven't always played with great consistency, but we've always competed well and made plays when we needed to, and that was certainly the case today.
Well, thanks for your time, Coach.
Thank you.
You know, it was interesting, Jesse, after Sims had thrown his 3rd interception, the backup quarterback starts to warm up, and then Saban has to make a very difficult decision. But he stuck with Sims in 5 straight scoring drives after that.
He's looking for his 5th national championship in the last 9 years he's coached as a head coach in college football, because he makes good decisions like that. It was Jekyll and Hyde for Blake Sims. Early in this game was pressing, forcing the football into traffic. He missed some receivers. This was his 3rd interception on the day. And then in the second half, found his rhythm, and he found his best target. Amari Cooper was brilliant throwing the football deep down the field. Only 7 incompletions on the night for Blake Sims. Unfortunately, 3 of those went to the other team, but Blake Sims ran the ball extremely well, showed great escapability, scrambling around again. This was the 2nd most efficient quarterback in the SEC, and the big reason why they're off to Atlanta to play in an SEC championship game.
Jesse, you mentioned Sims and Amari Cooper. Right. They're down below with Maria, so let's go back to her.
Thanks, Brent. We'll start with you, Blake. You threw 3 interceptions in this game, but you were able to completely turn it around during the second half. What were you telling yourself after that 3rd INT?
Just take one play at a time. I didn't have a good first half, and the team rallied up behind me and said they had my back, and they played very hard, and the wide receivers got open. I gave them the ball, and the offensive line did an outstanding job tonight.
And what were you guys talking about in the offensive huddle? I saw you a few times trying to give each other the pep talk in the second half.
Let's be champions tonight. It's time to be a beast. Everybody want to be a beast. This is time for us to be a beast. So let's play the best way we can and play together, and let's get this W.
That's your 5th year, your first Iron Bowl, and you get the win. What was it like playing in this game after waiting so long for it?
Oh, it was great. It was great. I'm just glad that our team get to go down in history. I felt a great win. I didn't do this for myself. I did it for the team. I did it for my mom, did it for my pops and my little girl.
All right, well, it might make things a little bit easier to be able to pass the ball to a guy like this. Amari Cooper joins us, over 200 yards receiving. What made you so effective today against the Auburn Tigers?
My team, we were really relentless in the way that we came out in the second half. We were able to put all the bad plays behind us and just think about the next play and execute.
How would you describe what this team has been able to overcome, having fought through a loss, and even today in this game, the adversity that you guys have been through this season?
This game was won way before it was played. It's not just us coming out in the second half being relentless. We were that way in summer and spring workouts. You know, they're really tough. We come out in the second half of those workouts and we go at it.
And now you guys are going to be able to play for an SEC championship. What does it mean for you being able to play so well leading up to that game?
Oh, it's great. It's always great to play in the SEC championship in Atlanta.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Maria. Outstanding job. And Jesse, what can you say about number 9?
He's the LeBron James of this offense, Brent. He gets all the throws. They targeted him 16 times, and I thought Lane Kiffin, their offensive coordinator, did a great job of lining him up at different spots throughout the course of the game. Outside, here he is in the slot running a double move, getting past Jonathan Mincy. He was good underneath. He was good in the medium range, and he was great deep. He was Blake Sims' savior on the perimeter of the field, made some big plays in the biggest game this season.
No question. Now, what are your early thoughts about Missouri and Alabama?
This will be a way better game than I think a lot of people potentially anticipate. Missouri, and we've seen them a couple times live, they are a very good team. They have the best defensive line in all of college football. Shane Ray and Marcus Golden, Harold Brantley on the inside are extremely disruptive, and they're physical at the cornerbacks positions. They can give these receivers from Alabama and Amari Cooper some issues. I think the good news for Missouri late in the year, they got back to full speed at the wide receiver spot. Remember, Darius White was hurt earlier. Now he's back on the field. He complements King in the slot and Bud Sasser outside. These receivers can make some plays for Missouri as well. We saw Alabama tonight have issues on the deep throw. This is going to be a good game. Alabama's going to have their hands full, and with that impressive win against Arkansas this past week to lock up the SEC East, Missouri proved they can be very, very physical. So we talked about Alabama having to have a playoff mentality. If they're going to win the national championship 4 games in a row against top 15 competition, took care of business tonight. Do not sleep on the Missouri Tigers and Gary Pinkel. They're for real.
Thanks, Jesse. Great season. I'll see you at the Vegas Bowl.
I'll bring my wallet.
Meanwhile, we've got a lot of happy fans here in Tuscaloosa. The Crimson Tide rolls. Blake Sims saluting this great fan base here. An 11-point victory for the Tide in the highest scoring Iron Bowl ever. A great night. Now let's send it back to the guys in the studio.